Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with perky, now that hair by numb is veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed too, we shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the feds, giving names. Who gon' feed my family if they take me out the game? Keep one in the head and one eye open, that ain't change. I'm quick to catch a body. When I shoot, he shoot, I know bro shooting right beside me. Them hollow tips go through the wall and then they hit his body.
So dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? He $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got.
Shouts out to American Aborigines in the building. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. Hit that like button, thumb up the video, and support the channel, man. Support the channel. Thumb up the video and support the channel. Let's go.
See, my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Niggas died 1865. Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
Blazing on the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, highway ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They too maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say.
track.
Whatever it takes. The leeway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all in my blood, all in my veins. They started with perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed too, we shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the
Peace and motherfucking blessings, man. Peace and blessings to all the American Aborigines in the building, man. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their grand rising. You know what I mean? The Wake and Bake show, man. Peace and blessings. Always a blissing to see you guys in the chat, man. So I appreciate y'all for tapping in. I want to shout out to everybody that's in the watching the live stream that's not able to comment. Shout out to you. Make sure y'all be safe on y'all daily commute. Be safe, be aware, stay vigilant, stay dangerous. Your brother, Big Aboriginal Power. Showing love to you guys. Let me shout out to some of the brothers and sisters that took their time out to comment in the chat. So I'm going to shout out to Rob McCoy. Shout out to Shay Pink 40. Shout out to Dre Cobb's Music, E Knots, TT Portier, Cool Face, Ravenhawk, El Bora, Elizabeth Young, Juice, Adaya Yashar, Joshua Stewart, J.R. Bill, Black Wolf. Who else we got in the building? Shamel Thompson, Scats, Tontinus Amaru Khan of America. Peace and blessings to you guys as well. Shout out to the beautiful elder Gretchen Hams. It's always good to see you in the chat. It's always good to see you in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. I do want to shout out to some of the brothers and sisters that already took their time out to support the channel this grand rising. Shout out to Tempest, aka TT Portier. TT Portier sent in a Cash App donation. We appreciate all the support. Shout out to my sister, TT Portier. Shout out to Dre Cobb's Music as well. Dre Cobb's Music for supporting the channel. He said supporting the real. He said for supporting the real. Shout out to TT Portier and Dre Cobb's Music for supporting the channel already. If y'all want to support the channel, Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. First things first, let me know what city, what state y'all are in right now, and also drop what are y'all smoking on or what are y'all doing this grand rising. You on your coffee, you on your tea, you on your backwood, you on your joint, your bong, what do you want? Let me know what's going on in the city. I got a nice little bill lined up for you guys this grand rising. Got a nice little bill for you guys. Let me light my shit up. Let me light my motherfucking wood up. Back up. Back up. All right, man. Fire in the hole, man. We already know what the vibes is, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Y'all see the title. I got a nice little live stream lined up for you guys. But before I get into the live stream, y'all know I want to chop it up with you guys first. I definitely want to chop it up. I really want to chop it up with you guys first. The making of who we are has came through the diaspora and the deprivement of our own people. I'm preaching to the choir when I actually enlighten you guys on who you are. I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know exactly who you are. You know what your ancestors said. You know what landmass you belong to. Only thing I want to help you guys, and we can help each other, is to dive deep into our culture and some of our contributions. You see what I'm saying? That's really the only thing that we can add to the table at this point. And we got a lot of contributions that we have gave out across the world. I mean, from everything from refrigerators, light bulbs, air conditioning, potato chips, the scaffold, the ladder, the hammer. We can go through black inventions till tomorrow. You understand me? I'm talking about out one after another all the way till tomorrow. 24 hours I can list nothing but black uh inventors, innovators, and shit like that. So shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to all my mods in the chat. Can I get a special shout out to everybody in the chat to give some love to my moderators? We got a whole new set of moderators from what I had down there 4 years ago. It's still a few originals from around here, but we got new moderators in here. Can I get some love to the moderators in the chat? Make sure y'all show some freaking love to the moderators. Show some love to the moderators. Make sure y'all show some love, man. Tap in, support the channel. Sacramento, California, 916, pulling weeds. Okay. Mass, just rolling up, Massachusetts. Okay. We got Massachusetts in the building. Down Massachusetts. What else we got in here? That's it. Ain't nobody else drop their city and state where they at? Well, listen, can I at least get y'all to hit the like button? Can I at least get y'all to hit the like button? As soon as you hit that like button, you know what I mean? Fuck with me. Sure, I'll let you hit the wood. I'll let you hit the wood. I'll let you hit that bitch. Got a little hole in it. That bitch still blowing on my mama. Hey, man, so listen, I want to say, man, peace and blessings to all the Aborigines in the United States of America, Northeast, South Central, and Conjoining Island. I want to say peace and blessings and abundance to each and every Aboriginal that's dropping information. I mean, each and every one of them. Ones that you think that I don't think. I'm thinking about you guys too. I wish blessings and peace upon all Aboriginals. I have no beef, no negative intellect about none of them. It is what it is. Appreciate all the American Aborigines, man. I know I got a couple woods lit up for this motherfucking bill too. Where we at with it? What we got? What up, mods? Yeah, 520, 7 diesel, sour diesel, 214, triple D cookies. California, GA in the building. Louisiana, Illinois in the building. Southern California in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. Can we get a few more likes? Can we get a few more people to support the channel, man? Can we get a few more people to support this motherfucking channel? If you don't mind. We can get a few people to support the channel real quick, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. If you're new to the channel, man, hit that subscribe button. You want to hit that subscribe button. It's the latest YouTube show on the fucking YouTube, man. We the only ones that keep it real with you niggas, man. We not here to lie. We here to just keep it real all the way around the board. Even sometimes it be a little negative, but at least you keep it real. At the end of the day, niggas be like, yeah, he kept it real. VA in the building, Texas in the building. Pink Runts. Man, y'all know what I'm smoking on. I'm smoking on the finest, man. Shout out to Asteroids. Asteroid.company, man. Asteroid.company, man. Make sure y'all tap in. Drip check. Drip check. Afterlife. Drip check. You already know the vibes, man. Shout out to my nigga Brown Wolf. Shout out to my nigga Brown Wolf, man. Brown Wolf, we're gonna have to lock in, man. Down in the A, we're gonna have to set something up because I'm the voice of the Aborigines, man. Y'all know I'm locked in with the youth. So, man, we need to lock in and really have something real special for the youth in the A, man. We need to go and do that. And I believe you got one of the perfect spots to introduce a different type of talent that don't get exercised, that don't get pushed out. So, man, we're going to talk about the artiste and the creative artistic ability to be able to portray and convey on sculptures and paintings. Shout out to my boy, Brown Wolf, in the building. Make sure y'all go support him. And make sure y'all support the motherfucking channel, man. Make sure y'all thumb up the video. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. I'm not even going to hold y'all up any longer. We're going to get straight into it. We ain't even going to hold up any longer. We're going to get right into it. We're going to get right into it. I ain't even going to hold y'all niggas up. We're going to get right into it. Y'all ready? Hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the fucking channel, man. Hit that like button, support.
times?
More okay. I think it would be like 4.
4? Is that too much for you?
That's a lot, dude.
Well, Johnny,
Drop a
you
fire
get up
emoji.
at 2 and that.
Drop a fire emoji. Y'all can hear me. I know the mic was off. My bad. I had the mic off. Drop a fire emoji if we back.
Afternoon.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm here. We record at 1. How's
You're
that?
right, Johnny. I mean, you're very sensitive. August, I must say something, but we'll talk about it off air. I just don't know if it's been done before. Well, we got to work on that. Telegrams are fire, bro. Telegrams are fire. Just go to samtripoli.com, click on the tinfoil hat, only conspiracy telegram, or the 01. And you'll begin some new 0 episodes. I'm sorry, I've been really slammed. But dude, almost 500 people talking conspiracies. My cameos are fire. My cameos are fire, bro. Fire. Cameos of fire. So go check that out. T-shirts, just go to tinfoil@t-shirts.com or click the link on samtripoli.com. Guys, I have 7 free audio shows for you to listen to every week. Tinfoil Hat, Broken Sim, which is killing it right now. It's basically me walk around LA looking for danger. Me and Roger, my gay pug, we walk around LA and look for danger. And it's 4.9%. It's pretty nice. Cameos of fire. So go check that out. T-shirts, just go to tinfoil@t-shirts.com or click the link on samtripoli.com. Guys, I have 7 free audio shows for you to listen to every week. Tinfoil Hat, Broken Sim, which is killing it right now. It's basically me walk around LA looking for danger. Me and Roger, my gay pug, we walk around LA and look for danger. And it's 4.9.
See, this nigga always saying some gay shit. I swear to God, I'm wrong.
It's cheaper. Back.
Let me skip this up. Let's get to the beat.
Back and we're gonna get into a bunch of stuff, man. There's some financial stuff we're gonna get into, some hidden history. So it's all my favorite stuff. His podcast, his website is grandtheftworld.com. Please welcome back to the show. One of my favorites, Richard Grove. How are you, brother?
I'm doing wonderfully well. Thank you guys for asking. XG, Johnny, what's up?
We're glad to have you back, bud. Yeah. We're glad to have you back. For those who may not be familiar with your past experiences, your past interviews on our show, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and where they can find you?
Sure. Well, we're both on Rockfin. So I broadcast live Rockfin 9 o'clock p.m. on Sunday nights till about 3 or 4 a.m. It's a weekly digest of news with deep dives into the context of things that are being censored and kind of making a time capsule every week of these crazy days we're living through. And I got my start back in 2006. My first podcast was 9/11 Synchronicity podcast, kind of capturing evidence and artifacts the same way, kind of making a time capsule for people in the future who wanted to learn about such events. And that went on for a couple years. And my other major projects have been film. I did another podcast for 10 years called The Peace Revolution that kind of teaches you all the history around what's going on today with the World Economic Forum, the Bilderberg Group, Council on Foreign Relations, this globalist endeavor.
So pretty much the same shit we've been talking about. The East Indian Dutch Company, which goes back to the fucking Phoenician family, the ancient Phoenicians. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. Man, y'all know what I'm smoking on. I'm smoking on Asteroids. If you ain't smoking on Asteroids, which is an Aboriginal brand, man, go to Asteroid Co. on Instagram. Hit up my boy DEV Hefe. Man, make sure y'all go shop, man. Get you some of that Asteroids, man. You ain't smoking Aboriginal unless you smoke.
Take away people's freedom pretty much in the next 10 years. As your guest last week, I caught it like I think on Friday, but ESG, right? That whole plan of governance, they're rolling that out alongside of like 2030 agenda for United Nations and vaccines. And they're really bringing it all together. They're trying to gain too much ground too quickly. And I'm a white pill personality. I've done enough reading over history. I know we have a serious chance. They don't want us to think we have a chance. They want us to fight amongst each other. But I think that we can reach out and touch people gently by just showing them artifacts and evidence that exist and saying, hey, look at this. Have you ever read this about Woodrow Wilson or so on and so forth? When it comes up in conversation, you don't want to beat people over the head with these things, but you definitely want to bring to the conversation the value out of having read books and like looked at these situations seriously, as many of the people in your audience do.
Richard, I love that. I love everything you just said. You know, and this is a great time to have this conversation.
Listen, he don't even motherfucking know. Talking about we good researchers and we are. We the Aborigines, man. We the only motherfuckers who really had our information buried. We had to go in the backyards with toothpicks and shovels just to get our ancestors' information. I don't know what the hell is going on, man. Shout out to the American Aborigines. Y'all some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life that be in this chat. Shout out to the FBA brothers and sisters that tune in. Like I said, y'all are some of the smartest people in the planet, you Aboriginal people, man. Y'all some little smart little fuckers. No offense. Y'all some little brilliant, intelligent little motherfuckers. Imagine what we can do when we come together, man. Shout out to everybody in the building.
Because, I'm going to be honest with you. I think just like a lot of you, I've been kind of, I don't know, drinking the rotten Kool-Aid in a weird way where I'm like, is it all doom and gloom? I mean, like, I would lie to you guys if I said I didn't take a hit on the crypto. And, that with the whole pandemic shutting down, like, the greatest show of all time, which was Comedy Chaos that was running, I could easily be lost in like, doom and gloom. But I really do honestly believe, and I will always keep it honest with you guys when you listen to the show, that this is something we have to go through in order to shed a spotlight on the rot that has been allowed to operate with impunity because nobody was talking about it. And here we are in this moment right now having these conversations, not just on this show or Richard's show, but across so many wonderful shows from the right to the left. They're all talking about the same thing. And a lot of the stuff that came out of Davos was like, whoa, they're not listening to us. And we see it happening. I'm with you, Richard. I think, yes, it is really bumpy right now, but I have a lot of faith that we're winning, man. I really do believe that.
Well, I think they're moving so fast with their plans right now that they're so tone deaf. And whether it's they had the conference last November, World Economic Forum. It was a follow-up to the Great Reset. It was like the Great Narrative. They started that plan. It was also in Abu Dhabi. And then they had recently the World Government Summit. And then they had World Economic Forum, Davos, and then they just recently had Bilderberg. So they're meeting so fast and trying to make this thing happen that they're completely tone deaf on the issue of people have had enough. They're starting to sniff out the agenda. I mean, for the past 16 years, I've educated people about globalism and New World Order from very credible, evidence-based perspective. People are looking for that story now. I used to have to kind of like, hey, did you know this is going? Now they're asking me, where's it coming from? What's going on? Is there a narrative that explains all this? It's like, it's a long time in coming, but I think you're right. This growth, this evolution, this rising to the challenge, this dealing with the complexity, and it's not just crypto that took a hit. All these things are part of this evolution that we're taking right now in order to step away from the Federal Reserve and all these.
I'm kind of skip up to the meat and potatoes of everything. Give me just a second. We'll get to the meat and potatoes of things. Shout out to everybody in the building. We're going to get the meat and potato of things.
They were going to do this during this decade.
Let's skip it back just a little bit.
With impunity because nobody was talking about it. Here we are in this month.
On board, the green agenda, the sustainability agenda, the carbon agenda, all these nonsense things are just forms of slavery for individuals. And that's the capacity of where we're at in human history. There's a lot of things going on, changes going on very fast. And like, the character in Risky Business says, sometimes you just got to stop, take a look. Oh, that's Ferris Bueller. Sometimes you got to say what the fuck and make your move. Saying what the fuck gives you freedom. Freedom brings you opportunity, and opportunity makes your future. But the other one is you got to stop and look around sometimes. Otherwise, life's going to pass you by. Those two ideas right now, people need to stop, take a look around, and then say what the fuck and make their move, man. Because the people that are running this are looking to bring back lockdowns and masks, and they're going to show us new things before the election. And I'm not political, and I haven't voted since 2004.
That's exactly what they're going for. They're going for another lockdown. Election is coming around in the next year or two around the corner. Biden's trying to lock in his candidate seating. And what he's going to do is create this world epidemic, quote unquote, in the form of monkeypox. They're going to shut the world down. It's going to be a grand epidemic. He's going to release this shit. He's going to come up with the cure that they already got. And boom, the world's going to vote for him again. This is strategy. This is political strategy, warfare on the mental minds of Aboriginal people. And they won't be able to make these political settings without our vote. Our vote is like having the vibration from God tap in. It's like when we go hit that button and we go up there and vote, we leave us energy there that they use and consume. Seriously.
But I think I might vote for the first time in a long time. I mean, the last time I voted was for a libertarian candidate, Michael Badnarik, who's a good friend of mine now, back in 2004. And I stopped believing in that system. But seeing where things are going, I have to say maybe my non-participation in that system is letting it rot faster than it has to. I don't want to move out of the country. I don't want civil war. I don't want any disruptions. We all just want to live peacefully, quietly, kind of carve out our own life. We're not trying to take over the world, but these other people are, and they're serious about it. And you can now see it at the gas pump. You can see it at the grocery store. You can see it on the looks of your friends and family, because everyone seems to be getting into turmoil these days. And that's why we need to add skills and rise above it and work together in new, interesting ways and be inventive and bring ingenuity to these situations and not just be deer in the headlights while all this goes on for the next couple of years.
I couldn't agree more with all that. Now, the question is, what do you think in libertarianism? Are you going to go with Dave Smith if he runs, or are we going to go with, hey, dude, I would love to see Dave Smith.
Hey, this is a good conversation. I'm already seeing this. I haven't watched this live stream, so we're all watching this. 170 of us are all watching this live, this audio and video for the first time. We're gonna break it down and add my commentary to it, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Hey, man, I gave y'all 2 live streams yesterday. I don't know if y'all even slipped on them and even noticed, but I gave y'all 2 live streams yesterday. Support the channel, man. Hit that like button, thumb up the video. Hit a like button, man. If you haven't copped the pay-per-view yet for tomorrow, August the 7th, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Untouching is one. Aboriginal Power, Jaguar Omek presents American Gods. American Gods, the pay-per-view, man. Make sure y'all purchase that. If y'all want to purchase the pay-per-view, all the information, links to the Cash App, to everything is in the description box below. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Shout out to everybody that support the channel, man. This is one of the latest live streams, man, and we really appreciate it, man. It's nothing but love over here. Peace and blessings. We edifying and waking up our people. We're challenging the narrative, and we're implanting we're abstracting the artificial information. We're abstracting the artificial information, and we're going to implant the real organic information into the minds of our people. So in other words, we're going to deposit real information into their memory bank, and we're going to withdraw the bullshit from their memory bank. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're going to withdraw the bullshit. You understand? And then deposit the good shit. Understand what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. Support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is ticking across at the bottom of the screen. Okay? Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Shout out to everybody in the building.
I live in Connecticut. If Dave Smith shows up on a ballot near me, I will definitely vote for Dave Smith.
Yeah,
I've already promoted him for president months ago in the Grand Theft World podcast. We made a big deal of it and said, look, Dave's at least funny and he's smart. And he's smarter than the people he's like, first off, he's smart. Now he's smarter than the people he's going against. Now he's also funny, which crosses political aisles. So I think he would be a considerable threat to include in any of those types of discussions, debates, coverage, interviews on TV. Like he has an opportunity to tear it up. And he's got good coaches around him. He uses a lot of Scott Horton references for as far as his foreign policy. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those guys at the Porcupine Freedom Festival next week.
I have a real issue with the doom and gloom. We can't do anything point of view that seems to be in a lot of the black pill people. Like this notion that it's just done. Because I think people.
If you believe it is like that, then it is, Sam. Though, like whether you say you can or you say you can't, I believe you. So for people like I'm not approving of mixing libertarian philosophy, which I have a large agreement with libertarian politics. I think the two are incongruent. I think Dave Smith in that position would show the Libertarian Party what's up, because they are just like a cookie cutter wannabe of the conservative. It's not a good thing. So for Smith to go in there and bring that disruption, that's going to bring about growth. It's only when we're in times of complexity and struggle that we're truly growing anyway. So if libertarianism and liberty itself is to exist 5 years from now, we got to all step up, because if you've seen Klaus Schwab's plans, like I have all his books, I've read their plans. It's not a good plan. And at first I was like, sure. But you watch this dude do it. Like he's been doing it 50 years and he was a chosen one. And it was the Club of Rome that wrote a paper about scarcity in the future. And they're like, we need to create this group. We need to have a world forum. And the following year, Aurelio Pache and all the people that were in on that document created the World Economic Forum. So they've been doing this longer than my lifetime, just slightly longer. And if you want to go on a longer trail, you go back to 1902 at Cecil Rhodes' last will and testament, or you just go to 1913. So it's either 120 years or 109 years that we have been slowly whittled down. So to answer the question of optimism, if we didn't stand such a good chance, they wouldn't have to do all these things against us.
Totally
They wouldn't
agree,
have to
man.
Right.
Me, we'd be in the gulags. We'd all have fucking we'd all have vax IDs and on our phones, and we'd have to show it everywhere. Like, it's like, there's little things going, because we as a humanity, we learn things the hard way every time. We as a whole have to learn it the hard way. So, we realize, 9/11, boom, planes hit. We're like, it's got to be these people that live in tents in the desert who pull off this amazing aerial feat that most pilots who've been doing it 30 years are like, nobody could do this. But these people who live in sand on deserts somehow pulled off this incredible aerial feat, knocked down 2 buildings that have more steel in it than any other buildings on the planet. But somehow they just miraculously went down in a way that looks like a demolition, but no way. It's these sand people that have done this. And now these Chinese people are just falling for no reason. And it's got to be the coronavirus that's doing this. And we have to fucking trust these people that we didn't elect to have our best interest, even though they completely lied to us about HIV and AIDS. But this time they're being honest with us. And we learn this all the time the hard way. But we do, in my humble opinion, learn. And we
learn fast once we start getting it, right?
Yep. Yeah. They start fucking pulling this shit, and they try to pull. You remember? And I say it all the time, but you remember they're like, Iran attacked our drone, and we're like, oh my god, the poor drone's family. Like the guy just trying to feed his drone family and take care of a family and raise a drone family, and these Iranians are shooting him down when all he's doing is protecting his country.
This all a fake war, man. Like all the fake war, like. Even when we get into this whole Afghanistanian beef, it's all fake. We know 9/11 never happened. They haven't found the evidence of no plane. They haven't found the plane inside of the fucking World's Fair burning and the cleaning up, but they found a passport. You ain't found the piece of the metal airplane, but bitch, you found the passport. It's fake. It's staged. It's staged. It's staged. This whole history that they presented to you is staged. It's a co-op. It's a photo op. It's fake. Even all the way back to the Civil War, to the Revolutionary War. You go and start looking at pictures from photos from these motherfucking wars. You see these people posing. They looking cute and shit. What kind of dead nigga look cute? Them the most calmest, prettiest, civil, non-disgusting death photos I've ever seen. This is in the middle of war. They got bodies with no blood on it. Look like they got a cigarette still in their mouth. It's a psyops.
It's like, we gotta go in there and kill these people. And it's like, no, dude, you lied to us about what happened with weapons of mass destruction. And we as a country committed genocide in the Middle East that will be paid back. Trust me on that spiritually. You do not kill 1 million people and there's not fucking blowback. So the deterioration that's happening all around us is a spiritual one. Now, when they're, again, we say this all the time, when they're like, you know, it's like the fucking loose morals, people getting weird with each other's why all these.
How come you don't, like I said, you go look at them Civil War pictures, the Revolutionary War, the War 1812, all these wars, the Spanish War, all these wars. Go look at them. You don't see no blood in these photos when you see these bodies on the ground. You get hit with big shit, and you know you ain't got an arm missing, a bullet hole, or nothing. No blood. It's fake.
These empires felt greed. Greed is always it. You read Tragedy and Hope, which, man, I love that, John, because I know you're a real expert in Tragedy and Hope, and we've wanted to do a giant show on that. But man, you read the first 10 pages of Tragedy and Hope, you're like, oh, dude, this is all scripted, and it's been the playbooks are done over and over and over again. You know, the episode with our boy Aaron C. from We Talk About Dead People, the peasant rights of 1381, this mysterious book that gives away all these fucking secrets, and the gates being open. Wow. Hey guys, I want to tell you about our friends at Helix. Listen, you spend
none of y'all commercial. Hey guys, if you ain't shot with Chick Harmony Roots, right, and you ain't went down there and got you a dream catcher, hit up the sister Chick Harmony Roots. Hit her in the inbox. If you want to shop Aborigine, go get you some Chief Holiday merch. Go get you some of that Chief Holiday merch. You want to get some of the tuxedo goat, you know what I mean? A 2 a.m. hat, a coffee mug, then you go to weare2am.com. Make sure you go to weare2am.com, man. Go get you some merch. Go get you some Aboriginal memorabilia. You're feeling good. You want to shop. Shop Aborigine. What's more than shop Aborigine, man? If you want to add a new bonsway to your house to show your understanding and your artiste, if you want to have a conversational piece, hey, go shop with my brother Brown Wolf, man. Go get you one of these pictures, man. Go get you a classical painting. Go get you a Renaissance painting. Go get you something down there with my brother Brown Wolf. And if you're in the Atlanta area, go get you a nice painting, man. You know what I mean? Shop Aborigine.
Look. And this book's going to give people the capacity that I use to rule over them. And how do you think that I can rule over them if you give them what I am excellent in? So he's chastising his teachers, saying, don't publish this book because you're giving away the secrets of literacy, of thinking, of communication. These are very powerful things, and they should not be given to average people or slaves. Nothing's changed since then, man. The schooling system is set up as indoctrination, as you guys well know. I didn't get to read the Gulag Archipelago going to public school. I didn't get to read it at university. It was not prescribed to me. So later on in life, I carved out time over a summer and I read. I pulled too many of them. There's 3 of these volumes, right?
Jesus, bro. You read 3 of them?
Yeah, there's 3 of these, right? So if I pull them out, this stack's going to fall behind.
Would you say, XG, that one book is more pages than you've read in your life?
In the last 10 years.
Easy.
Yeah,
easy.
I went to high school. I went to high school.
Oh no, I've read more pages than that.
Yeah, Johnny.
Lately, though, Johnny, I feel like
Not
you've been running.
Well, do articles on the internet count?
I read a big one.
Okay, good point.
Because then you're reading a lot too.
Though, right? You guys listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
There you go. In the 3rd volume, so the first 2 volumes like that, these big thick books, it's a real downer story. The story of the Gulag Archipelago. You get to the 3rd volume. And these people start to figure out how they're being enslaved, what the communication mechanism between the organs of the state and them being persecuted are. And you have the breakthrough where they say, oh, if we take out this piece in the communication system, the organs of government no longer have any control over us whatsoever. So in that case, the communication mechanism they needed to take out were stool pigeons. Duplicitous individuals among them that were informing the government, and they can come in and get the problem people out. And once they took out the stool pigeons, they then took over the camps. They had the people running the camps hiding in their offices from the prisoners. They took over the camps, all because of a couple small moves that they made along the way. And it's interesting because today we don't have to take out physical people. There's no stool pigeons. We carry them around in our pockets. They're like these supercomputers called phones, right? So the elements of the gulag that are, I think, the most relevant aren't the suffering and the trying and trying and trying and failing and failing and failing. It's that eventually they rose to the top. They figured out the system. They asserted themselves. They asserted their freedom. They took over the camps. They ended that system.
Yeah. And I think about that all the time, man. Like, you know, I was just talking to these guys about, I was walking around Hollywood Boulevard and there was a gay pride. I didn't know it. I was just walking around and everybody had rainbow. I'm like, what is going on, man? And it's just like, you know, it's like, so you have this small, well-funded group of people that are amplified to make it seem like they're everywhere all the time. In reality, they're a very small group.
Small group, and they're not everywhere all the time, but they are certain strategic places at the right times.
Yes.
So I brought you guys a couple
called where
artifacts.
the cameras are, by the way. It's called where the cameras are. Those are the strategic places that they are all the time.
Right. And they're positioned. Like, this is it. They're positioned.
Well, no, I mean, you see it all the time. You see, like, when they're
and like you said, these are the small fraction. They say 3% of the world, 3% of the world run the world. You know what I'm saying? So that's a very small group in contrast to what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? So let me shout out to my boy Wayne. Let me shout out to my boy Wayne Williams. Wayne Richards. Shout out to Wayne Richards for sending in the Cash App donation. We got to show love. Everybody show some love to my boy Wayne Richards in the chat. He sent in the Cash App donation. He said for fire, bro. Thank you for the information. I appreciate you. Don't thank me, man. This the ancestors. You understand me? Don't thank me. I'm just a vessel that the ancestors working through, much like they working through you in whatever mysterious way that he grab a hold of you. You understand me? The universe works through me. I'm not telling you nothing no more than what's already encoded and planted inside your DNA and your cells, passed down through memory cells to other cells that's in your body. I'm just enlightening. I'm just igniting it. I just brought the lighter to the wood. You know what I'm saying? To the fire. I just light it. That's all I do. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to all the American Aborigines. Shout out to y'all, man. Like I said, if you haven't copped the pay-per-view, all the information is in the description box to get the pay-per-view for tomorrow. American Gods featuring me, Unconscious One, Jaguar Omac, right? Hey, man, it's going to be one of the ones, man. Make sure y'all tap in. Make sure y'all support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is ticking across at the bottom of the screen. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Let's continue this live.
These big protests somewhere that the media wants you to know about.
And it's all just about framing of the camera because, you know, they just go tight on 10 people and it looks like it's a crowd of 100.
Yeah.
You know,
I told you about Portland, man, when I was performing there in the middle of the shit. I'm like, where's everything going on? The local comics who are my friends are like, dude, we haven't seen any protests. I'm like, really? Because it looks like it's Beirut here.
But it's not only the left, it's also the right, because the right also goes there and documents it. And puts it on their social media and promotes it. Like, look how much, it's the same shit. Like, and
they do it all the time.
Drives ratings.
Yeah.
What makes this show great is you guys know that. You see the left-right paradigm and you stop playing that. Now you see them both. Like, they do a little bit on both sides, right? So you have to be discerning. You have to look at all the evidence. You have to weigh it for yourself to make informed choices, decisions, judgments in life. These sort of things come to salient conclusions that reflect reality. And in order to do that, I advise, like the way I've done it over the past couple decades is I like to get the artifacts from reality. What is the evidence, right? So I brought you guys a special piece of evidence today, but before I can show you this, I got to tell you a short story.
Ooh.
Once upon a time in the late 1800s, there was a very powerful press magnate in journalism over in Britain. His name was William T. Stead. And William T. Stead became famous not only for being in charge of newspapers and being influential, but he did the first ever interview, something we see and take for granted every day. His interview was with a British general named Gordon, who had subjugated India And in like 1886, they get together, they publicize the results of their interview. It was total propaganda on their part to build the empire, but that's the origin, right? So William T. Stead, he then becomes friends with this guy, Cecil Rhodes. Cecil Rhodes was someone who was funded by the Rothschilds, goes down to South Africa, takes over and consolidates all these mines, makes De Beers, which was a monopoly, has some gold mines, dies at an early age, like 41. And he's friends with Rudyard Kipling, who was an imperialist, Freemason, spy type guy. So Rudyard Kipling, Rhodes, William T. Stead, some people say it's Steed. They're thinking about how to serve the empire. Now, Freemasonry has a goal. British Empire has a goal. So what Rhodes did was he became useful to those bigger, larger groups, a secret society and an empire, and maybe even the financing family behind him, the Rothschilds. So he's satiating he's kind of like Machiavelli helping the Medicis.
Yeah.
So Rhodes is facilitating not his goal. He believed in it, but he heard it from John Ruskin in Oxford, and Conan Doyle also had this goal. So there's a lot of British people that wanted America back into the empire. And Rhodes said, let me take my immense wealth and create the Rhodes Scholarships and a secret society for the purpose of bringing America back into the empire so they could take over the world. This started in 1902. Now, William T. Stead died in 1912 on the Titanic. There's a memorial to him in Central Park, even though he's a British press magnate. I have William T. Stead's own copy of the book called The Last Will and Testament of Cecil Rhodes, with elucidatory notes added to the text by the editor, who is William T. Stead. So I'm going to show you an artifact. I bought this from the guy who bought Stead's Review of Reviews library, and this is something you can find online. So even though I'm just going to show you a rare book, you can find the PDF readily. So let's try like this. Here we go.
Nice camera angle.
Yeah, I got this too. Let's see if we work like that.
Whoa!
Yeah, see? Woo,
somebody's futuristic.
Full hat fancy. I'm setting a new bar. All right, so Last Will and Testament of Cecil Rhodes by William T. Stead. Someone once paid $75 back in the pencil days. And then here's a picture of Rhodes. That's what he looked like. Here's the title page. And there's a lot of juicy quotes from here. And I'm not going to bore you guys with all the evidence of the New World Order, but I'm just going to read like from this one page right here. I think it was, because I found this. Here we go. No, that's not it. I might have to go to the standard. There was the interest excited by the publication of the daily papers of the Last Will and Testament of Cecil Rhodes justifies and explains the appearance of this volume. For the marginal, like notes in the margin, and footnotes, as well as for the chapters describing the political and religious ideas of Mr. Rhodes, no one is responsible but the editor, and that's William T. Stead. So this is Stead's book, and we can check out Rhodes's writings, conversations, correspondence. He has his Last Will and Testament on page 3. So let's go to page 3. You guys can actually see, here's the Last Will and Testament. Here's his burial place. And when you go through this book, now this is one of the few books I haven't highlighted because of the value of it. Usually I just mark up a book. He created the scholarships at Oxford. Yeah. When we get into page like 70 or 65 up here is, here we go. On this page, like, so if you did a freeze frame, or I could even, let's go back full screen and zoom in for you.
Damn, look at this.
Right. They're starting to work out. Rhodes stated when he got to Africa, he read out his ideas, and he got influenced by Lord Rothschild. And this is William T. Stead, Review of Reviews. So the guy that I got this book from, he bought the entire library when that went out of business and had it. And I found him. And so here, page 64, this is Rhodes in his own words. Please remember the key idea discussed with you is a society copied from the Jesuits as the organization.
Hey, Empress Namas Gamas. Then I just fucked your whole name up. Shout out to Lady Green in the building. Empress Goddess Namas. Gotta give you a motherfucking round of applause. Because when I watched the movie Titanic, it's so fucking long and it sucks because it doesn't show any Negroes amongst the ship, which is bullshit. We can get into the actual Negroes that was on the ship. Empress Goddess Nama. There was slaves in all white working in the bottom of the ship, and they was in like this little cage door room. I know bullshit. I thought I was the only one that seen that. No bullshit. I thought I was the only one that seen that, yo. And when I tell people about it, I was like, yo, I literally seen slaves in the Titanic movie. I've watched the movie 3 times within the last 8 months, and I still can't find that fucking scene. Did they edit it out? Can somebody take a screenshot or some video and put it in their Instagram stories if they find the slaves at the bottom of the ship in the Titanic, man? Somebody tag me when y'all do that. Because I've been looking, man. I was wanting to show them motherfuckers. I was looking. I said, I cannot find it. I watched the whole movie and I could not find it. Shout out to Empress Goddess Namas, man. That was a good drop right there, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We got 270 Aborigines in the building, man. Peace and love to everybody in the building. Can I ask y'all to do one thing? Can y'all hit the like button, please? Can you hit the like button, please, man? If you can also share the live stream on each and one of your social medias, we can try to get 300 people in here before we hit the 1.5 hour marker. Let's try to get 300 people in here, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Drop a fire emoji if you're a proud Aborigine, man. Shout out to all the FBA brothers and sisters in the building as well. Drop a fire emoji if you're a proud Aboriginal. If you're a proud foundational nigga from America that lineage ties only to America. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all drop a fire emoji if y'all haven't supported the channel. Make sure y'all support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is ticking across at the bottom of the screen. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. The real support the real. And if y'all haven't purchased the pay-per-view, information, links to the to everything is in the description box. Read the description box. It'll give you everything you need to get the pay-per-view. Link will be sent to your emails if you purchase, so make sure you send in your email once you make a purchase. Shout out to everybody in the building. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Let's continue this live stream.
The practical solution, a differential rate and a copy of the United States Constitution for that is home rule or federation. So they're saying we can be in charge or we can federate America in and have the House of Commons in America and like split it between there. And then the world that America is in the forefront. So they're saying America's in the forefront of developing tariffs. And then he goes on to develop the plan. Now, Stead is his co-conspirator. So this is literally a conspiracy because Stead, in his own words, he's like, yeah, Rhodes and I came up with this whole plan. So we have some of it in his own words. And here's a money shot. Page 73. What an awful idea. Well, I'm sorry. What an awful thought it is that if we had not lost America, or even now could arrange with the present members of the United States Assembly in our House of Commons, the peace of the world is secured for all eternity. So what he's saying is, like, if we could just get America back into the empire, we could take over the world and secure peace. That's a good reason. That's why a lot of people get into this plan. They're like, we want world peace. This is what they mean. They mean an English-speaking world. They called their idea the English-speaking idea. They wanted the English everything culture to be spread around the world. And Rhodes contributed heavily to this endeavor. So they're talking about American rule and still building up the case for bringing America back into the Republic. And then there's more writings where he talks specifically about the Jesuits.
Yeah, bro.
That marker fell out. So my point with that is, like, that's an artifact. It's hard to dismiss. It exists in reality, right? There it is. You can read it. Now, Rhodes Scholarships. 100 years later, almost, you get this book by James H. Billington, Fire in the Minds of Men, The Origins of Revolutionary Faith. This is an excellent history book, and it is just as big as one of the volumes from Gulag Archipelago, right? It's a good, thick book. The important part is this guy, he's credible because he's taking these records from the Library of Congress. He was the Librarian of Congress. He's also a Rhodes Scholar. Oh. So this guy, Billington, has impeccable work. You want to learn about the occult origins of organization and the Illuminati and what actually exists and the Pythagorean secret societies and all this sort of stuff. That's great. But he also tells you about, like, the origins of America and the secret societies and all sorts of other things. One of my favorite references in here is, like, right about here.
Damn, dude.
The origins of the word intelligentsia. Right? So, like, that's a word, and here it comes into our language. This is romantic globalism. This is 1800s. They haven't figured it out yet. But
romantic globalism,
cybernetics, technocracy, all the origins of all this stuff are in this book. And here's another, this is one of my favorite ones on 231 here at the top. In 1843, B.F. Trenchowski invented the word cybernetics to describe the new form of rational social technology, which he believed would transform the human condition. In his neglected work, The Relationship of Philosophy to Cybernetics, or any part of, or The Art of Ruling Nations, right? Get what they want cybernetics for. It's the same thing that Plato had cybernetics in his book, The Republic. These people have been working on this stuff for thousands of years, and they're getting really close to extinguishing freedom. So I'll continue. Or The Art of Ruling Nations. He also invented the word intelligentsia. So back in 1843, you got cybernetics and intelligentsia, all the things that they've used in the 20th century being developed. So this is a fantastic, like, you want to get someone a good gift for Christmas, you go find, they don't sell them new anymore, I think. You get them a used book like this, start marking up some of the pages. I'll show you one more just real quick. I sent a copy of this. I sent a copy of this to Luke Radowski a couple months ago because
we love.
They're always talking about Civil War on the Timcast, right? They're talking about Civil War. I'm like, hey, here's the letters right before the Civil War. It's called A Casual View of America. The home letters of Solomon de Rothschild, 1859 to 1861. He was here. Solomon de Rothschild was a 27-year-old scion to the Rothschild banking family. They were interested in opening a bank here in America. Their current representation was August Belmont. And August Belmont's son is also called August Belmont, so it can be confusing when you research it. But the point is that August Belmont was the Rothschild handler in America, their influencing deal maker, and he was in charge of the Democratic National Party, which also was supportive of slavery at the time. Now, the Conservative Party, the Republican Party, comes around like 1858 or something like that because they're an
Now, mind you, these are white people, that's abolitionists for white slave, but he also agreed on white slavery. This is this is why it's key. When you get into Forgotten Cause of the Civil War, it talks about white slavery. I just want to add that in. They're talking about white slavery.
Abolitionist group, right? So there's a culture clash between the Democrats and the New Republicans right around this time. And this young Rothschild kid goes and stays with all the elite families of the North and then all the elite rich families of the South. And he really sides with the South. So in his letters, he calls Lincoln a thief. You can see why they would have a motive to possibly move against him, right? So Confederacy had the favor of the Rothschild banking family. They were not funding the Union at that time. Abe Lincoln had to make his own greenbacks because he did not take up the international bankers on their offer. And that was part of how the Civil War created. So when you read the letters in here, and I have a couple episodes where I've done so, there's things like the North and South. Here it is right here. Let me zoom you in real quick so you can see it.
Bam. Johnny, you need one of these.
So this is April 28th, 1861. Right? Do you guys know when the Civil War started?
Xavier?
I think it started maybe March 1861. I think it was already going on a couple weeks right now.
That's the correct answer.
But no, I don't know. It could have been 1860.
No, I think you're right.
Let's see. I'll just read the
1861, guys. I
cool.
give you guys enough rope. You hang yourself. That's what happened there.
All right.
I didn't like letting you do that, but I had to.
So when I sent it to Luke, I highlighted all the pages. I marked all the pages just like I have in my own copy so he could readily avail himself of such evidence and information. So this is New Orleans, 28 April, 1861. I'm just going to read the highlighted parts and leave out some of the fluff. Having been in both the North and South, having heard all the conceivable arguments in favor of each side, I had the desire to form a completely independent opinion. The abolitionists were the extremist Republicans, let me get it up on screen, the fire eaters or secessionists, the extremist Democrats. Fanaticism in the extremist parties always win out. And exactly as I expressed in my forebodings to you a long time ago, he's writing letters home to the Rothschilds in Europe and Britain. So he wrote home a long time ago. He's been telling them this: abolitionism on one side and secession on the other dragged along the moderate neutrals despite themselves. So he's saying this extremism brings people who even don't have a political opinion into the fray.
Yeah.
The two reasons pushed the people of the North and South to seek to destroy slavery by any means. I'm sorry, the people of the North to destroy slavery at any means. The first, which was advanced by those who wished to dazzle to win over the chivalrous hearts and to gain the sympathies of Europe was a simple humanitarian reason. In a free country like America, there must be no slaves, and complete equality must reign in all ranks of society. That's how he perceives it as a European royalist. The proof of this reason was not sincere.
He's saying this because his peoples was enslaved. And as soon as they got that, they switched the switcheroonie. After 1865, after Emancipation, a proclamation, they switched the slavery system to us. This is when they start to gain power.
Is that the proof that that's a reason is not sincere is that the abolitionists spent millions to incite uprisings among the slaves or to induce them to flee their masters, but let them die of hunger when they were free and gave them no means gave them no means of improving themselves morally. This is 27-year-old Solomon de Rothschild, and this book is printed by Stanford University, 1961, on the centennial. It's by Sigmund Diamond, who also wrote Compromised Campus, about how they corrupted schooling. But the real sentiment that guided them, and that they did not dare to admit at this time, was the spirit of leveling. Everyone must be equal in abjection. Is that going on today? I don't know. They cannot tolerate someone in the South having 200 arms for his use while they only have their own 2. This sentiment was the first seed of social revolution, which is at this very moment taking giant strides behind the political revolution. The cause of the South had many supporters. The cause of the South had many supporters in the North, but these supporters were more inspired with self-interest than one believed. They knew that with the support of the Southern states, they could never retain power. The state of affairs might still have lasted for years if the two, so they might not have gone to civil war if the two divisions, North and South Democratic Party, had not split the convention. So Rothschild's guy, Belmont, is running the Democratic Party, splits the convention, and kicks off civil war. Solomon knows this. He's just not, he doesn't write that part, but that's provable in history that he was their bagman here. Each supporting a different candidate, they abdicated power to a third fief, Lincoln, the choice of the Republicans. Right? That's motive. They also have money and opportunity.
Hold on. Break that down. What? So the Rothschilds purposely split up the Democratic side and allowing,
according to Solomon de Rothschild in his own letters, which is why Stanford published it 100 years later. Let me show you like I'll show you the money shot for this.
Holy fuck, bro. It's like it's all dividing, and that's what I'm saying. With all this shit going on right now, these guys don't understand what is happening. They are being mentally manipulated into infighting.
100%, 100%, and you see it clearly. Page 123. This is the last quote. If 12 million people want us to see, you can't stop them. So the war that the North is going to wage against the South is an unjust, barbarous, and fratricidal war from the side of the people that support slavery, because that's what side Solomon's on. The North and South will attack each other like two locomotives under a full head of steam, meeting on the same track. Nothing will be able to satiate their brutal passion for vengeance but death and destruction. When the two sections have exhausted all their resources, like the fighting fish in the beginning of When the two sections have exhausted all their resources, when they have seen the flower of their youth die, when millions have been engulfed into the bottomless pit of civil war, they will find themselves again at the same point from which they started. Now, moreover, with a yawning gap between them, and they're broke, and they've lost the flower of their youth, the next generation. It'll be necessary to end the war, to write a treaty to grant mutual concessions, for no matter who the conqueror will be, there will be no vanquished. Each side will struggle to the bitter end for the rights it claims to have, right? And so seeing clearly from the bankers' perspective as they foment this whole civil war in America.
Shit, dude.
Can I just say that this is so interesting, because at this point, if 1861, nobody thought that the Civil War was going to be what it became at that point.
Right.
None of the generals. I mean, there were a few generals that had the foresight to imagine it, but none of the politicians. I mean, you see at Bull Run, the first major battle of the Civil War, that we've talked about this before. There were people come down from Washington to picnic for the battle. They thought, oh boy, we're gonna have the big battle, and then it's gonna be all over. Everybody's gonna go home. The idea that this tells you that this person really had some understanding of the nature of America at the time, that they had.
And he died shortly after that. He didn't live beyond his 30s, I don't think. So
yeah, they're like, dude, you don't write this book, bro. What are you writing this book for? Now we know everything. Now you're telling them everything.
They were the private letters. They were the private letters to like Lionel de Rothschild and the French Rothschilds. So the interesting thing is, here's one of the most valuable things I can share with your audience that they can get access to right now. The Rothschild family has an archive. It's online. You can go read these letters for yourself. You can find new interesting stuff. You can write new books. There is so much to be. So it's rothschildarchive.org, I believe.
Yeah, the pay-per-view will be on this channel, but the only way you will be able to see it if you purchase the pay-per-view. You will get a link sent to you to your email. You will be able to watch the pay-per-view either live or after the purchase whenever you feel free. So make sure y'all support the channel, man. If y'all want to purchase the pay-per-view, The American Guys, tomorrow, August 7th, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to the description box. All the information that you need to purchase a pay-per-view is there. Shout out to all the American Aborigines, man. Can we get 260 likes in the building, man? We looking a little light on the likes, man. All I ask for you guys to thumb up the video. Thumb up the video. Please support the channel and thumb up the video, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. The real support the real, man. The voice of the Aborigines, man. Y'all know what's up, man. Shout out to y'all. Y'all be doing the work too, man. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Support the real, man. If y'all want to support the channel, if y'all enjoying the live stream and you appreciate the channel, if you want to support, Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, man. Ticking across. Let's continue.
Believe, just type in the Rothschild Family Archive. You're going to see the English speaking one. You're going to see the French one. It's fantastic what they have out there. And the ability to just like cruise through there. I used a timeline from there recently in a presentation called The Underground History of America. And I just used the Rothschilds timeline in their own words. And I'm like, here's what they say about themselves. So I just think that needs to be more widely recognized and known. And I'm not attaching any accusations or anything, you know. I'm just saying they exist. They're doing these things. You should be up to speed on what the history is of the people behind currently inclusive capitalism in the world. You know, inclusive capitalism, ESG, all these things that are being supported by The Economist, the London School of Economics. That's all their sphere of influence. And it's like top down. Reuters, they've been working with Reuters since the 1840s. They had the Rothschilds had their own courier pigeon network, which allowed them to translate money across seas, like the first kind of bank transactions. They can send from one bank to another bank. They would write in Yiddish. They would attach it to a carrier pigeon. They would send it over. The corporate front of that, what became known as Reuters. And then Reuters from that quickly within like 10 years started the telegraph. And then that became the preferred method of transit. But prior to that, the Rothschild carrier pigeon network was used by Queen Victoria, Prince Albert, like all the highest echelon people. And that also gave them strategic advantage in financial transactions of the international variety, which they really kind of pioneered.
It's just unbelievable. It's just so freaking crazy. It's right there in your face. And it's just like, if you fast forward to today, you see what's going on. My question to you is this, Richard. Like, I keep hearing about this civil war, this race war, all this stuff. And for me, it's like, it just seems like one side is way bigger than the other. And what's going to come down to this, and it always comes down, is to who is like the right versus left. There's way more right than there is left. There just is, man. There just is. You have LA, New York, and San Francisco. Maybe you'll throw Chicago in there. That's a lot of people.
Wait,
right?
what do you mean voters?
But not in terms of voter. But if you said let's have a war right now,
there are more registered Democrats than there are.
If you had a war right now,
I mean, let alone who's got the guns? Who gives a fuck how many people there are? Who's got the guns?
Yeah, so my whole thing is it's going to come down to, you know, police versus like military and police versus the right. Is that kind of how you see it play? And I don't see.
I don't think so. I mean, I think if it really came to civil war,
let's say it's going to about that pop off. How do you see it playing out?
I think if it really came to civil war, you would see a lot of the police and the military go home to their families. They would. I think they would.
All the pretenses of wokeness would be dropped.
Yeah.
Right. So who is on the left that has this war happen?
Well, you'd have a few people, but I'm saying there'd still be people that would, see it as their, following their oaths to do
right.
that. But
there's not enough black people. There's not enough gay people. There's not enough. Like the elites,
Well,
kids, all.
This nigga said there ain't enough black people. Boy, you got some nerve, little honky. Nigga, we all around this bitch. Nigga, the Aboriginals don't die. Nigga, we multiply.
Well, the pretenses of wokeness would be dropped.
Yeah.
Right. So who is on the left that has this war happening?
Well, you'd have a few people, but I'm saying there'd still be people that would, see it as their own, following their oaths to do
right.
that. But
there's
but
not enough black people.
Home.
There's not enough gay people. There's not enough, like the elites.
Well, they
kids
would use international troops. The answer to that question was defined back with the Red Dawn days. That you want foreign troops that don't speak our language, that don't empathize with our screams and pleas and begging and all the things that goes on in those types of Gulag archipelago situations. They would use a United Nations force first. Yeah. They would say economy crash, good. They would say civil war, better. And then that gives them an excuse, send in an international peacekeeping team. And the United Nations needs to become a global union. And I'm sure it'll be English speaking, just like it is now. Like 40 votes in the United Nations are countries with the queen on their money, man. It's a rigged game. And if like Trump got it, like for better or for worse, he got us out. He was talking about getting us out of United Nations and World Health Organization, these sort of things. And I didn't vote for him, and I'm not on board with that. But that was a good stroke because those internationalist organizations, United Nations, World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission are all working under the guise of Cecil Rhodes's last will and testament. And that's the inner circle that's tying all those things together. And there's a lot of great scholarship on this. Like my buddy Jay Dyer could rap to you for hours and hours about like analysis of the pages in Tragedy and Hope. But I just tell people like that's a good thing, first off, to have that knowledge. But I tell people read Tragedy and Hope 101 by Joe Plummer. He'll summarize the Anglo-American establishment and this sizable tome, Tragedy and Hope, The History of the World in Our Time by Carol Quigley, 1966.
Insanity, dude. 10 pages, man. You're like, but holy fuck, bro.
Okay, so the guy who wrote this book, he has a funny name, Carol. His name is Carol Quigley. He taught at Georgetown's School of Foreign Service, the Edmund A. Walsh School of Foreign Service. He was trained by a Rhodes Scholar. He was in contact with a whistleblower from the inner circle of the Rhodes Roundtable. He then mentored Bill Clinton while he was going through the Council on Foreign Relations archives for 20 years to write this book. And this other book that he wrote, The Anglo-American Establishment, clearly has America in distress, being overtaken by the British Empire. He would not publish this book during his life. He would only let it be published posthumously. He died in 1977. This came out in 1981. This came out in 1966. He wrote this in 1948. Okay? These are real people doing real things in the world, and he was really that scared. But if you read this book, you get all the names and places like, or a great place to start out is James Corbett's World War I Conspiracy. And the official story of World War I is a conspiracy anyway. So just get over that. Get into like the facts. Like World War I, from my perspective, is Lord Milner's second war. And Lord Milner was the chief guy carrying out Cecil Rhodes's last will and testament. There's Lord Milner and Lord Curtis. And you can hear Quigley himself talking to a 1976 New York Times reporter named Rudy Maxa, where he admits all this stuff. So it's not even like conspiratorial or vague, or it's just that people don't know. So I've made it my job for the past 16 years. Everywhere I go, my 9/11's not an inside job. It's a it's an international job. And it's like the United States, Britain, Israel, NATO. There's a whole bunch of groups that are in it, plus all the corporations, AIG, Kroll Associates, Marsh & McLennan, whole bunch of places for people to dig into these things. But as long as they keep using conspiracy theory as the excuse not to actually read a book or start to think for themselves or start to map out reality, they're going to continue to make decisions that do not pan out. They're going to continue to do things that do not add up to happiness or success or safety, security, or health.
Yes.
We have to be properly informed, and we know they undermined our school system.
Yep.
It's not an education system. They undermined us, and now we can take it back, learn how to communicate, learn how to listen, learn how to think, learn how to take strategic actions that add up to your goals, and do that consistently. And that's antithetical to everything that globalists or New World Order types of people want us to be doing. They want us to be scared. They want us to be inactive. They want us to be fighting with each other. And I refuse to give those pricks the satisfaction.
Yeah, I agree with all this, man. I agree with all this. The UN is 100% going to be used to fucking go to war with us on our soil. Everyone needs to wake up to that. And
they've been trying to take away our guns since like 1960, Sammy.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And they're pushing it real hard now. Hey, surprise, surprise. 10 Republicans voted for gun control. You guys got to get out of this fucking R's and D's. You got to stop thinking these people. Anybody that wants to run for public office on a federal level should be stared at with skepticism. And then the ones who want to run on state level should be stared at with skepticism, okay? You should question all these people. You know, I'm a libertarian. I'm now officially a libertarian, right? I signed up for that. I'm an old school liberal. I think if you look at old school liberal values, it's very much into what libertarianism, man. And Johnny, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's my real belief.
No, that's true, and it's backed up with facts. The origins of the word liberal, liber, comes from Latin. It means book, and it also, so it's a noun and it means book. You learn stuff, but it's also a verb and it means to free. So I got this freedom sweatshirt that I designed, and it's like the Ramones with the presidential seal, but I changed it all around so it says freedom, and in there it has the book, and it has like the magnifying glass and the writing, the things you would have to do to learn to make yourself free. And then it has a bird, you know, in the logo, it has a bird, but the bird's escaping a cage. And you're doing that through learning. So liberalism originally, like 100 years ago, was a really great thing. And it meant freedom for people, respecting other people's freedom, and you get freedom. It's a very libertarian idea. Yep. And they are, you know, so these ideas, these concepts, our definitions have been changed in the 20th century all throughout. You go back to Frankfurt School type of influences, but they just did it throughout the pandemic with the definition of pandemic, definition of a case, definition of all these different things. And it's like when they change the definitions, that should alert people right there. They're taking control of the game. That's an offensive move. That means war when they're doing that. And people have accepted it and hoped that it would go away, but it's not going away. They have plans for the next couple of decades, and it doesn't involve America being a free country anymore. It doesn't involve people being able to drive themselves around freely. All the American values, all the great things of our way of life are being scuttled. And there's been people like Charlotte Iserbyt, worked in the Reagan administration. She wrote a book called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. It's like a 700-page book. She just passed away recently. Her book remarkably predicts right where we are right now. The nonprofit international foundations, Ford, Rockefeller, Carnegie, got together to bring America into changing its attitudes, values, behaviors, and beliefs to be in line to be merged with communism. That's what you see outside every
100%.
Yeah.
And I also believe that this whole McCarthyism was done purposefully to demonize people who call out all this Marxism and communism. They did that purposely to make it look like you're stupid. Right. So then you get into also you start to get into this satanic panic shit, right, of the 80s, where everyone was like, oh, getting accused of Satanism. And everyone's like, these stupid Christians. And you're like, if you actually look back at what they were saying, they're spot on. Even Tim Dillon, a gay man, said that the 80s Christians were fucking right 100% in it. And it's all useful idiot shit. It's all, these people don't realize they are being used to do the hard work. It is my theory. Like your average Israeli, right, is being bombarded with propaganda that everyone around them hates them, so that they fight this holy war on behalf of the bankers who are trying to control the land bridge that fucking Israel represents. The easiest way to get goods from Africa and Asia into Europe. It's all manipulation, man. It's all manipulation.
There was a good documentary a couple years ago called Defamation by a documentarian who was Israeli called Yoav Shamir. And in there, he kind of shows like the trauma-based mind control that is projected onto its own citizens. And that's not even talking about the Palestinians.
I saw this,
dude,
doc. It's wild. Yeah, right? It's so revealing.
His grandmother, like, there's a whole bunch of people in there that I remember kind of viscerally, because I was like, I had no idea, but it makes a lot of sense.
A lot of false events, right? And trumped up shit.
Dude, I'm not getting into any Holocaust shit, but just think about how much the Holocaust is a part of the identity of Judaism today, man. just how big a part of that is. I mean, you have people. I talked to my buddy's wife was on, who does OnlyFans. We were talking about that. She's Jewish, and she's like, yeah, you're raised up is like have one for you, one for your mate, and then one for a person lost in the Holocaust. I mean, like, think about that.
Yeah, slavery is the same thing for
it's
Black
mental
America.
slavery.
No, I mean, it's the same as slavery for Black America. You know, that's brought up as
100%.
like it was yesterday.
100%. This beating down of this whole thing that this group of people all hate you. And it happens to white people as well. You have these people who are just like, white people are always racist, all this stuff. And it's just like, it's kind of crazy right now, dude. It's crazy times, and it's all being done purposefully to break us all up and get us all to fight with each other, man. And for me, it's just like, I want to get into this because my parents were both teachers, and they used to go to work, and I can tell you that my parents, for as crazy as they were, loved helping children learn. That does what we've done now is we've taken away money and making any money in teaching right now. And what these people do is they basically become teachers because they have the thought of helping kids. They get into the system and they're getting paid 40 grand a year, 50 grand a year in modern day, so they could have summers off.
And no supplies. I remember my teacher literally telling me that she would go out of her money and waste money to buy us markers. That would be that's dedication. That's love.
That and why that is done.
Yeah, even if you want to be a teacher in the system and help kids, they've got Common Core. And if I could just take you over here for a minute, I got to show you this. I'm going to type in Common Core real quick. You guys can't see that box, but I'm going to bring it up. Common Core, Common Cause. There we go. Standards Initiative. All right. The guy who came up with Common Core, let me stretch this out a little bit, is a Rhodes Scholar. So when you start to understand that key to the Anglo-American establishment, and then you look into these things, and I'm not saying this is not, recognizing a pattern that's not there. There's there's names for those types of phenomenon. This is evidence-based. So his name's David Coleman. There he is right here. David Coleman. He's a Rhodes Scholar. And Bill Gates is also in on Common Core. So you can't even get away from these people who are trying to change the world. They're involved in all these areas. They're taking over the educational system. Now, the Rhodes Scholars are based out of Oxford University. I have a friend. He's on in years now. He's probably almost 80. He's from South Africa. He was a political prisoner in South Africa. He was a mentor in medical school to Steve Biko, who helped to create the Black consciousness movement. There's a famous movie called Cry Freedom with Kevin Kline and Denzel Washington. And if you don't know who Steve Biko is, that'd be a great treat for yourself this week too. Biko had this idea that the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And that idea rings true today. Now, my friend who helped to mentor Biko,
he's about to spill the beans on tricknology. Listen, he about to drop the motherfucking beans on tricknology. I want y'all to pay attention.
Rhodes Scholars are based out of Oxford University. I have a friend, he's on it, who helped to create the Black consciousness movement. There's a famous movie called Cry Freedom with prisoner in South Africa. He was a mentor in medical school to Steve Biko, who helped to create the Black consciousness movement. There's a famous movie called Cry Freedom with Kevin Kline and Denzel Washington. And if you don't know who Steve Biko is, that'd be a great treat for yourself this week too. Biko had this idea that the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And that idea rings true today. Now, my friend who helped to mentor Biko, being a political prisoner in South Africa during apartheid is not an easy thing to do. He finds a way to get out. So a lot of people make excuses, and I'm not saying those who make excuses are bad people. I'm just saying this guy had no excuses in him. He's from India. His family lives in South Africa. His political ideas got him into political prisoner status, just like Steve Biko. And spoiler alert, the British government tortures and kills Biko at the end. You should know that. That's why you should watch that movie. You should find out that story. My buddy, who is a political prisoner, gets out of South Africa. He finds a way into Oxford because he wants to learn what is this empire that's ruling over us and making us slaves. He wants to know it from the inside out. He graduates from Oxford. He then went to Cambridge, graduated from there. So he's got a big brain, but he's pretty socialist. He's like communist leaning. He's against empire, though. He's pro-freedom. I can relate to him on these aspects, right? So I've interviewed him several times over the years. And what we think the American flag represents here is totally different than how people have recognized it around the world.
Of course.
Once upon a time, America's flag, I mean, it starts with the opium trade and us copying the East India Company's flag so we can go into Canton and get opium still, because Eastern establishment families in America, all their wealth was based on opium. But beyond that, our flag through the 1800s was a sign of symbol. It was a symbol of hope, freedom, liberty, all these sort of things. Rhodes's buddy, Rudyard Kipling, helps to get America into internationalism in 1898 with Spanish-American War. And he writes a poem called The White Man's Burden. And it says, hey, America, you're white too, and it's your job to subjugate the brown people of the world. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of his poetry, right? And he's a good imperialist friend of Cecil Rhodes. They're both Freemasons. They got a lot going on. So he's like writing this to encourage America to kind of, and there's cartoons about it too. If you look up the political cartoons about the white man's burden back then that they ran, there's some racist shit. But it's not America. It's the institutionalized racism of the British Empire that never went away. They never fought for their freedom. They never got a constitution. Neither did Canada. You just see they got their guns taken away last week. No more guns because they don't have a constitution. This country was founded differently. The mentality of the people here is something that the people try. Once upon a time, America's flag, I mean, it starts with the opium trade and us copying the East India Company's flag so we can go into Canton and get opium still, because Eastern establishment families in America, all their wealth was based on opium. But beyond that, our flag through the 1800s was a sign of symbol. It was a symbol of hope, freedom, liberty, all these sort of things. Rhodes's buddy, Rudyard Kipling, helps to get America into internationalism in 1898 with Spanish-American War. And he writes a poem called The White Man's Burden. And it says, hey, America, you're white too, and it's your job to subjugate the brown people of the world. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of his poetry, right? And he's a good imperialist friend of Cecil Rhodes. They're both Freemasons. They got a lot going on. So he's like writing this to encourage America to kind of, and there's cartoons about it too. If you look up the political cartoons about the white man's burden back then that they ran, there's some racist shit. But it's not America. It's the institutionalized racism of the British Empire that never went away. They never fought for their freedom. They never got a constitution. Neither did Canada. You just see they got their guns taken away last week. No more guns because they don't have a constitution. This country was founded differently. The mentality of the people here is something that the people trying to oppress us do not understand. They don't understand freedom. Otherwise, they'd probably embrace it. They only know monarchy. They're like the people in China who have been bred as slaves. They're not freedom-minded. They think freedom's a threat. So if freedom's not going to be extinguished now or in the next 10 years, we all got to raise our game. We got to up our intellect. We got to have better communication, and we got to be making stronger offers to the world more consistently. Otherwise, we got to go to them and beg for a paycheck and some golden handcuffs. And maybe we can eat the white trays of mold and the bugs they're growing for the UN food drives right now.
You are on fire right now, and you're totally right. And I want to go back to what Cecil Rhodes represents to me and what we're really getting away from, which is, it is of my belief that I had a relative who wanted to be a cop at one point, and he would go, and he's the nicest guy, and he would go take these psychological tests and he would fail them to become a cop. And I'm like, why aren't they want this kid? He's the nicest kid in the world, level-headed dude. Why does he want that? Well, because they don't want that. They want red line instantly, fucking chaos right there, because that's who they want to send out when they're coming for the rich people, right? That's what they want. So I take a look at these in Hollywood all the time. I look at a lot of these people that are fucking flourishing right now. I go, why are these fucking psychopath, fucking scumbags killing it right now? Because that's what they want to push. They want these people doing their dirty work. So these Rothschilds see this Cecil Rhodes, closeted homosexual, which they could fucking manipulate, right, to control. And they know he's a psychopath that will do whatever they want him to do. He'll do, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing across all these boards. And that's why, Eddie says all the time, everything has to be exposed. And, sometimes you go, okay, what are you talking about? And then I go, you know what? He's fucking right. He's fucking right. All this shit is being exposed. We are living in a time, and I was watching Jimmy Dore the other day. He's like, dude, I think it's turning. And and I think he's right. I'm going to recommend you, Richard, to Jimmy Dore. I'd love to see if I could help make that happen because I think
we watch Jimmy all the time. We play his clips. He's hysterical. And he's better news than all those other places. Like a guy in his garage,
and he's coming to our side. You'll never get him into moon land, and this probably isn't your stuff either. But the moon landing and all that stuff, he has me do a show all the time, and I'm always like 5 years from now. Jimmy's like, explain to me how they got that golf cart on the fucking moon. Explain to me that. But the point is that he's more and more opening. Like he's the one who sent me the whole thing about the 31-year white supremacists that were on their way to the gay pride parade, and luckily the FBI, who seems to let everybody else was able to stop it. Yay, FBI. Thank you for helping us. Right? They were able to stop
We just told our 28 undercover agents to turn the van around. That's how we stopped them.
Yeah, right.
You know they were at least.
And you just go on Instagram and you just see all these fucking outlaws going, can you believe these guys are going to gay pride? It's like, dude, how do you are you a goldfish? Are you a goldfish? Do you not retain any information from what's happened over the last 6 years? The fucking Michigan governor case should have you question anything you ever see on the news. But you don't, because you're too busy fucking keeping up with your favorite OnlyFans.
And they repeat it so much. That's the other thing, Sammy. They repeat it so much. It's like, even if you had the knowledge, like the Michigan thing, that's serious, where the FBI basically had like 14 out of 17 people involved were their informants. That's a long train of abuses. I can go back. I mean, we can go back a long way, but let's go back to 1992 or 1993 World Trade Center bombing. There is a tape that exists. You could listen to it right now between Imad Salem and his FBI agent handler, John Antisev, Agent Antisev. It's like 24 minutes. And in there, the guy who was the informant says, you told us to use a fake bomb, but you gave us a real bomb. And what's up with that? And he's also trying to collect his expenses. And the FBI is pretty tight from that call on their expenses for such things. So it was introduced in court. I forget the lawyer's name, Kuby. I think it was Ron Kuby, Kuby. There was a case in New York. This is all on the record. You can go to Wikipedia, type in EMAD SALEM, Imad Salem. You can hear the call yourself. I learned this from my buddy Jason Burmis back in 2006. I was incredulous. I came home, I listened to it, and I was like, wow, but that's one dot. Now let's up our ante. There's a book you can get on Amazon right now called Terror Factory, Inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terror by Trevor Aronson, who's a journalist down in Tampa. In that book, he shows that almost every terrorist event after 9/11 that they used to scare us were FBI informants all involved, and they were all created so they could advance their budgets. Not my argument, not my opinion. That's in Trevor's book. He's a journalist. People can check it out. So there's a lot of these things that have happened over the years, but I also wanted to touch back on your comment on Rhodes. I got no problem that Rhodes was a single man who was pensioned for homosexuality, buggery, whatever they call it.
Hey, dude, banging ass. All you want. I don't care.
My problem is that he created something called the Lovat Scouts, because Rhodesia is named after Cecil Rhodes. They were training soldier kids in the woods alone with these older guys. And when you look into the people who founded the Boy Scout scouting movement, international movement, Boy Scouts of America, you're going to get back to Cecil Rhodes and his close group of friends. And that's also a hallmark of British intelligence, using people's sexuality to compromise them.
Yes.
And it's always used. What they can't stand is when people use it for power, they like it. But when you use it out of love, they hate it. So if you're using homosexuality in your life out of love, great. But that's how they would see that as a threat. I don't see that as a threat. They would see it as, this is something you control people with blackmail.
100%.
Can you explain what you mean by using it out of love?
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Using it out of love? I don't quite understand.
Just normal
like
love,
if
right?
you're just a gay guy, they're like, I mean, like, dude, if you listen to Bill Cooper, he breaks it all down. Like their whole goal was to turn everybody gay and then kill the gays. It's right there in like all this paperwork that Bill Cooper talked about, HIV and all that stuff. And we get into whatever that really represents. But the whole thing was get people to buy into the gay lights, homosexuality, and then fucking tell them they have AIDS and make them take fucking AZT that kills them.
It's a hard sell.
I got Cooper's Jam right here. This was one of the first books I read back in the day. Like after I became a whistleblower and I started looking for myself and not depending on my education to tell me what was the terrain, I bumped into this book. Everyone talks about Behold the Pale Horse, and if you buy it, you're going to be put on a list. And one day, right after probably 2001. So it's 10 years after this book's been out there. I finally was like, I need to read what's in this book. Now, I never refer to this book as like evidence. I just know that this book exists, and he made some claims in here. And I dismiss the messenger, and I look at the message and what's the veracity of the artifacts. And when you first read it, you don't know. You don't know heads from tails. But I can tell you that after looking at this book for past 20 years, there's a lot of stuff that Bill Cooper talked about in here that seems to come to fruition in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying like he got everything right, but he got killed on November 5th, 2001, right after 9/11, and he was shot by police in his front yard, defending his home. He had predicted, as well as Alex Jones, he had predicted 9/11. He said they're going to do this thing. And if you were watching geopolitics back then, there was a lot of signs. There, I have a Council on Foreign Relations, Foreign Affairs from November 1996 or 1998, in which the people who wrote the PNAC report that most people point at, like, hey, these guys wanted to do 9/11 and they did it. They wrote a Council on Foreign Relations, Foreign Affairs article. It's John Deutsch, who was accused by Mike Rupert of drugs and CIA cocaine, Philip Zelikow, who ran the 9/11 Commission report, and Ashton Carter, who later became the Secretary of Defense running the Pentagon. So the three people who write this article presciently, right before 9/11, pointing out World Trade Center and New Pearl Harbor and these types of ideas in the same magazine as Bernard Lewis's Osama bin Laden, New Enemy Number One, right? He wasn't, so like, you put these political articles together and look at their agendas ahead of time, it wouldn't be so hard to extrapolate what they're trying to do back then. So I don't think they had crystal balls or magic powers. I think they read the documents that are easily findable and readable.
I agree, man. And it's just, once you realize it, it's all a haunted house. But I want to go back to this thing again. It's just like with this guy. I mean, you have to understand, man. Like, they've got this stuff down. They got the data. They're crunching the data. They know who's crazy. They know who's not crazy. They know how to position certain people in certain places. You know, for me, man, like, you know, when you take a look at like the rise of Pornhub, right? Pornhub skyrocketed. They used to brag that they got the 50 million subscribers faster than any other website in the history of time, right? And so you go, we take a look at all these other giant tech companies and we go, wow, they have weird intelligence connections, right? You go Amazon, his grandfather was started DARPA. We have Bill Gates and Microsoft, and how the Gateses are related to the Maxwells and all of that, and how the Microsoft's whole logo is a swastika. We get into Facebook and LifeLog. I mean, Google and the CIA. Okay, so why wouldn't Pornhub be right there like that? If it's the quickest moving fucking website ever in the history of mankind, why wouldn't it have some fucking connections? And just think about this, dude. They know what you're watching, and they know who's commenting on this and who's.
They know how long you watch it.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, there's no other website. Well, what other website is there? There used to be a bunch back in the day. You're like, oh, this whole, now it's just everyone just goes straight to Pornhub.
Now, Pornhub and OnlyFans has a very similar kind of feel to MySpace and Facebook, where one just sort of showed up out of nowhere and the other one kind of faded to the side, bombarding Pornhub with all of these lawsuits and all that stuff because there was such shady shit on there. People are like, why are you letting that happen? Well, because that's how they found out who was in the weird shit.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the first time, hopefully it's the only time this episode, I got to claim ignorance because I've never been to Pornhub. I have a hot wife. I haven't seen anything like that. No one's tracking
I have a crippling sex addiction.
But I can tell you, I'm not surprised. And here's why I'm not surprised. When I worked back in high tech at the turn of the century, everybody wanted to put everything on the web. And I knew all the best web clients were coming out of Maryland. They had these porn server farms. I didn't have a Maryland tech territory, but my buddies who were raking in just purchase orders thrown over the wall. They need more servers. They need more licenses because they couldn't build the servers and assemble them fast enough for people's porn satiation. There has never been anything on the internet that makes as much money as that industry. And the whole internet as we know it today was formulated and companies had money to do all these things because of all those successful porn servers down in that part of the world back then. Now you can ask me, do you think that was government porn servers? And yes, I do. I think the whole thing, the internet, soup to nuts, ARPA to DARPA, man, it's all the same thing. They've got one purpose: is cybernetics, transhumanism, technocracy forever. They're doing it.
So on this show, a lot I push back on a lot of things, and one of them is that gay people are like some kind of demon people, and I push back on that because what that does is push people deeper into the closet. Okay. And when you have people like we've had people on the show that are very famous for their Instagrams and their Twitters, calling out this gay rapper or that gay rapper or this gay person and that gay person. And I go, when you do that, man, you make it easier for people to blackmail people. That's what it is. Now, are gay people evil? I don't think so. Are there gay people in positions pulling some bullshit? 100%.
But it's not because they're gay.
It's not because they're gay. They are blackmailed. Like Will Smith, all these rappers who are undercover gay that are pushing certain agendas. They're manipulated, dude. They are manipulated, and they are used and manipulated because they don't want their secret out. That's why they're used. And you see it happen all the time. I'm sorry, man, but this whole thing with Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland football is a giant example of how people are manipulated for what they do behind closed doors. All right. We live in a country where this mainstream media is pushing on that feminism is chicks doing OnlyFans, right? Oh my God. Flick your bean is this like sex positive stuff. Flick your bean, flick for bean. But once a man engages in it, these people who have been telling you that, hey, we don't want to slut shame, now are shaming people who work with sluts. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if you go to Houston, most of the people in Houston will tell you that the Houston Texans owner is fucking behind all this. And now it's kind of blown up in his face because now we found out that Houston Texans helped him with all this. Gave him non-disclosure things to say and all that stuff. And now 66 women have come forward. Really? A bunch of chicks who give massages and hand jobs are suddenly coming out of the woodwork to get a piece of a giant payday? You don't think so? I mean, I used to with Chris D'Elia. I read so many of the women who came forward, 44 of them. Guess what? Most of them were all over age. 2 of them weren't, and they both got busted manipulating the fucking evidence. You guys, this is done purposefully. Every time you demonize these people, now these people and these gay prides and these drag queens, these are opportunists. That's what they're doing. They're getting paid money to do these things so they can get filmed and cause everybody to fight with each other. Most people don't want cross-dressers reading to kindergartners. But this issue wedges us.
Like the Alex Stein video. How much did that guy get paid knowing that he was going to end up with all that hate shame? Like, he has to do it for more than $100. You can't love kids that much. RuPaul, right? Drag show, the drag race show is fucking hilarious. But when she does a show on fucking Netflix where she's sitting, she's the guardian angel to a homeless kid, that's going to cause chaos. And she doesn't care because she's collecting a check. It is a agent provocateur. All these videos you see released are done purposefully. Every time you see a white cop shooting a black person, that is being released purposely. They sit on these videos until they need to cause chaos. Why do you think suddenly now we got school shootings and white supremacists showing up the gay pride parades? Because it's midterms.
Well, I don't quite understand. Now you're saying that the events aren't happening when they say they're happening.
I'll tell you the George Floyd thing. Nobody had masks in that video.
No, they did though.
No, they did.
I saw a few.
They didn't have, dude.
I remember you saying that to me though, and then I looked at the video.
Johnny, the cops who showed up did not have masks on. George Floyd did not have a mask on. People in his car did not have masks on. Maybe you could see someone in the far distance. Everybody involved in that did not have masks on.
I just remember us talking about that, and we did see some.
It's all manipulation, dude. It's all, and they know.
That's what I think Lil Nas on Elmo is.
Yes.
It's like how much more more can you manipulate that?
100%.
That's it right there.
It's all meant to get us to divide and conquer. What they're doing to us is what they did to Russia with the Bolshevik Revolution. Johnny and I, he cleaned up on my timeline on that. So thank you, Johnny, and our personal. I'm being serious. Thank you, because I had different timelines. But this is all mental manipulation. Am I wrong?
The banking group that's behind it's the same one that funded the Bolshevik Revolution. It's a continuity. It's a different generation of their cabal, but it's not unlike what has happened in the past. It's just new people in charge. For instance, like John D. Rockefeller got a really bad reputation for himself, and then he got Ivy Lee and these other PR guys to come out and say, well, let's just get a lot of film of you giving out dimes to kids. And that became a thing, and everyone thought of him then as generous, right? Bill Gates, right as he's going through antitrust hearings and being like a huge liar on film, he decides to become a Rockefeller-esque philanthropist to give away his money and create these foundations, and these foundations are for the good of humanity, right? These people are not like the creators of anything. They're frontmen. I got an example because you mentioned like Bezos a couple minutes ago. I pulled this book off the shelf. This is a book called Stealing Time. This is about AOL Time Warner buying like that merger back in the day, right?
Yep.
There's a Bezos meeting in here, and he was very young. He was like a young entrepreneur. He's starting up Amazon. He's got this noble idea, and he ran into real gangsters. And I thought it was a good example of like how the system works, right? So he's in this meeting. Let me zoom in for you guys. All right, so he's in a boardroom meeting, and somebody's got a hunting knife, and they stab it into the table as part of the negotiation. The blade was 6 to 8 inches long, Davis reckoned from a glance out of the corner of his eye. It wasn't a hunting knife, Perlow later insisted. It was a pocket knife. Colburn, who was also in the room, didn't seem bothered by the glint of the knife. The other person there, Jeff Bezos, chief executive officer of Amazon, appeared alarmed. I bet he was. Bezos's eyes became the size of saucers, Davis said. So his eyes wouldn't become the size of saucers. He's seen penknives before. This dude probably took a pretty sizable knife and put it on the table as part of the. These things were not going as planned. AOL was trying to pitch Amazon, the emerging online retailer, on the benefits of advertising its goods on AOL's internet service. So this whole page is AOL trying to take over Amazon in like kind of a hostile way back at the beginning. And they might still have a part of it. I don't know. Like there's a lot of CIA, DOD money in that Amazon joint over there that Bezos runs.
I just love how outlaw that shit is though, right? Like, it's so interesting. Yeah. Hollywood and corporate America has a real problem coming out, man. And that is they've ran all the outlaws out. And what you have is a bunch of rich kids trying to fucking crunch data on how to be an outlaw and how to do outlaw shit. Look at all these fucking shows coming out about this person from the 70s, this person from the 80s, all this stuff, because all those people are no longer in Hollywood. Anybody with any personality has been ran the fuck out. Or dead, but ran out. Where are they? Drive down Sunset and show me where the fucking outlaws are. It's just all fucking emo band, fucking political correct shit, and nobody's dangerous. Everyone thinks there's rules going on. Now, I've been very vocal about the LA comedy scene, but the LA comedy scene can only do comedy to what the LA people want. All the outlaws are gone. Hollywood and corporate America are in deep shit. So you remember when we had that one video of the hearing where the one woman's like, I think men can get pregnant. Do you know why she's saying that? Because she wants to be able to be promoted later on in her whatever corporate fucking place she works in. Because you have to say stupid shit so you don't offend anybody along the way.
It's also like that. what do they call it with black people where they break them? You know, it's like it's like the woke liberal version of that. You know, if we can get you to say this, we know you'll do anything. You know what I mean?
100%. It's about shish kebab in your brain, so you say stupid shit, so you can keep moving up, because that's what these big cities are.
It's very
free
Orwellian.
range fucking reservations.
I got a good outlaw story for you.
I love outlaws.
All right. I know a guy, and this will be an example of if there's such a good thing as a good outlaw, this could be a story. All right. Because I'm not friends of the system that claims to be an authoritative system, yet brings in the drugs and like does subjugation and subversion of America. Right. So I'm going to tell you a story about a guy who was in the DEA. I'm not a fan of these centralized federal powers that aren't in the Constitution. So that's my caveat. A couple years ago, I filmed interviews over the past 12, 13 years. I taught myself cinematography. I filmed John Taylor Gatto. I filmed Bill Binney. I also filmed this guy named Hector Berreyes. Hector Berreyes was the highest ranking and highest decorated officer in DEA. He was an undercover agent who infiltrated the Medellin cartel, the Cali cartel, the Guadalajara cartel, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Jeez. I got called by my buddy John, and we filmed Ray McGovern. We've done a lot of filming together, and he calls and says, "Hey, I got an interview in New York with this whistleblower from the DEA. You're not going to believe his story. You got to come to New York and see this guy." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Bring your gear." So, and the foreshadowing is the trip before, when I filmed with John in DC, we got robbed. So I lost like 10 grand worth of gear, and it was a big hassle. What? So I was hesitant to take my gear into the city, but I did. So I get to the hotel, and we're waiting for this guy to show up. And he walks in, and he looks like a cartel guy. He looks like a cocaine cowboy. He's got boots. He's got a belt buckle. He's got a gun. He's not supposed to have a gun in New York City. He's the real deal. So we get in this hotel room with him, and we're interviewing. So we got like 5 cameras. We got lights. We're in this hotel room. I had no idea what this guy's going to tell me. He tells me a story I'm partially familiar with. Part of the story. So he was like an all-star. He infiltrated all these places. Rah rah, shish boom bah. Like he's in the drug cartel war. He's on the like. There's a false dichotomy going on. It's being sponsored by both sides, by the United States taxpayers. So I'm not a right left in that situation. I see good people doing good things, and that's how I judge them. So in this situation, he had done a bunch of infiltration work for the government to break up cartels that weren't being controlled by the United States government, right? Kind of a Smedley Butler-esque type thing. He was an enforcer for the government. He said at the beginning, "I thought my government was as clean as the driven snow." And then he tells a story, because he was so good at his job, they had an unsolved murder. And he was brought in on this case called Operation Leanda. I think that's the name of the operation. And he's supposed to solve this case. The case is this, and you've probably heard about it by now because there's been several movies made about it over the years. Enrique Kiki Camarena was a DEA agent. He was in front of a United States consulate in Mexico. He was kidnapped, tortured, killed, left parts of his body all outside for the birds to pick and whatnot. And there was a tape of his interrogation and his torturing. And so it was an unsolved murder. They bring in Hector, and he's telling us, about how he went about solving it. So the long story short is, he finds out the people he works for are the people that did it.
Oh my!
And now that he knows that, they want to make him a patsy. He's the rogue narc. Is the branding they gave him. He's the rogue narc that has some. They got him to kidnap this doctor, bring him out of Mexico. The DEA, the guy who runs it, the admin of the agency, told Hector, "We want you to go into Mexico, kidnap this guy, bring him to America." And he did that for them. And then later they're like, "We never told you to do that." Right? That type of gaslighting stuff.
Oh man.
No. And he's telling us about his experience with El Chapo and all these different things during this 5-hour interview session. And every time we come out for a break out of the other room, I'm looking down these long hallways of this Hilton in New York City. They're like, it must take up the whole block, really long hallways. He's talking about El Chapo. I'm like, El Chapo's a couple blocks from here, dude. You don't think these walls have ears? Like, you're here telling us all this stuff. We got 10 devices in this room. I expected kind of maybe I don't know how that day was going to go. So we get through the whole day. I make it home safe. And I said, this is everything we heard today needs to be written down. It needs to be like a film treatment. It needs to be a series treatment. So I get together with my buddy Paul. Over a couple months, we crack out, here's the treatment. It's a 3-season arc. It's a series called Kilos. It's based on the true stories of this award-winning DEA agent. And John and Hector take it to Netflix in LA. They sit down at the meeting. Netflix wants to license Hector's story. They have the whole meeting. Netflix says, no, thank you. Thanks for coming. Now, I copyrighted it, the script before it went there. So we have proof. We own that property before it went into Netflix. Netflix says, no, thank you. They then decide to make a series, and they didn't have this series at the time, and we knew they didn't have a series at the time, but they had Narcos, but they didn't have Hector's story. Well, they took Hector's story and made Narcos Mexico, and they tell it from the cartel side, and they tell it from the CIA side. They tell it from the people who killed Kiki Camarena's side.
Oh my God. Fucking scandalous, dude.
All right. So, but there's a silver lining to this. My buddy John, who was Hector's agent, continued to work on Hector's behalf. Hector got a deal with Amazon. Amazon made a movie series called The Last Narc. And if you go to Amazon and watch The Last Narc, you will hear from the people who kidnapped Kiki Camarena and participated in his murder. Hector got him on camera. He got those guys, like the undercover guys, the crooked cops, the people that participated in the whole thing. He's got them in the movie. Now, it's got some subtitles. You might have to, but make it through that story to understand the truth, and then go watch Narcos Mexico and see what Hollywood wants to tell you about such things in our world. Because it's a really good lesson in U.S. foreign policy and the drug war and how things really work, how power really works, what you're going to get as a whistleblower. And, you know, Hector's son tragically committed suicide during that whole process while he was getting brought up and like pushed out. That whole thing, it was a really tragic story. I mean, his whole story is amazing and epic, and only part of it gets told in The Last Narc. So I would like to see him get book rights and get more of his story out there, because he's one of many, many, many whistleblowers like that. And unless people in America understand there are people that are out there fighting on your behalf, risking their lives, sacrificing their families inadvertently in this struggle, and they're coming back with, hey, the people who killed Camarena, it goes back to CIA and the White House.
Yeah.
We should not have those entities in power over us. We are supposed to be free people, and we're supposed to be ruled by a government based on the Constitution to only protect our rights. When they're not protecting our rights, it's not really government. It's not a Constitution. It's not really government. People need to draw their lines and be like, not beyond here.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it's just like, it seems to me that we are getting crazier and crazier, that they are ramping it up. I think people are starting to realize our intelligence servants aren't necessarily law enforcement for us, but more of doing the work of the elites. And it sucks. It really does.
I mean, they were there to protect us from the Hunter Biden laptop. 50 intelligence agency leaders say that that's Russian disinformation. That should tell it all to you right there.
Yeah. I mean, like, and there's the thing is right now, is the lies are so blatant, and the fact that there's no ramifications or punishment for lying is also very, very glaring. And I think people need to understand that's why we have to work on a local level. Johnny sent me a picture from George Floyd. It shows a cop in a mask.
Two cops.
One, okay.
One in the back has a mask.
We don't know that for sure, but
No,
I will give you that. Thank you, Johnny. Even though I do not remember that, I guess you're right. Point Johnny.
I like that you guys are open to the fact that you might be wrong and you fact check yourself along the way.
Oh, Johnny loves
that to be useful.
And then when I give him shit, he goes, "Why are you being a meanie?" You know? Okay. So, anyways, because I can't keep you all day, because this is a wonderful conversation, and I love talking to you.
Hey, man, this is a wonderful conversation. I really didn't. I'm listening to this for the first time as well, so I'm just getting input. But this is the part where I dropped the link in the chat. So if anybody want to come on and build on this topic or any topic pertaining to Aboriginal history, science, anthropology, archaeology, then hit the link, man. The link is in the chat. Make sure y'all hit the link. I'm gonna give y'all 60 seconds to hit the link. Hey, if you enjoy the build and y'all appreciate the channel, support the channel. Support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Shout out to all the American Aborigines and everybody that's tapping in. I'm going to give y'all 60 seconds to hit the link, and we'll be right back, man. Shout out to everybody in the video.
See my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in the building for supporting the channel, man. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. Hopefully y'all are enjoying the live stream. It's a dope ass live stream, man. It actually was a great conversation. I see a few people in the chat. I'm not gonna respond to any of their chats, to any comments in the chat, but you know the link is in the chat though, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. It just shows how this government works on certain things to manipulate the strategy. We got King V on here. What's up, King V? King V, what's up with it, mister? Well, we'll get him to come back on later on. Shout out to King V, man. Come on. Hey, moderators, what are y'all doing out there? Get these damn things out the chat. Shout out to my moderators. Get them damn things out the chat. Hey, y'all fuck with that Hellyway? Y'all fuck with Hellyway? Yeah, we got a Hellyway interview coming real soon, man. We got a Hellyway interview coming real soon. That's my partner. Avon Indian, just a lucky guess, but I'm right. Hey, Alex Stone, hit the link, man. Come build, man. Don't be scared. We won't bite. I won't bite, man. We all good. Shout out to all the American Aborigines. Peace and blessings. If you haven't purchased the pay-per-view, go to the description box, y'all. You know what I mean? Support the channel, man. It's going down. It's going to be a fire one. It's a movie, man. It's a movie. August the 7th. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Aboriginal Power. Antonson is one. Jaguar Omet presents to you the American Gods, man. Make sure y'all go support that. Make sure y'all go get that. Seeing nobody hitting the link, man. Seeing nobody hitting the link, man. Y'all scared as hell to hit the link. Y'all some scary motherfuckers. And if y'all come on, show y'all face, man. We real with it. I show my motherfucking shit, nigga. I'm out here with it. Shout out to my nigga Root Words coming on. Root Words, turn your camera on with a gangster, man.
Man, I'm looking rough today, man.
Man, Aborigines look like that, man. We good, yeah.
Salute with you, brother. I'll show this little blunt I got. People be cracking on my little blunts and shit. I be like, look, man, my shit don't be fat. I'll be taking my shit to the head.
Man, it's like the third one for the live. You know, we be getting litty over here, man. I was enjoying the build. I said, let me roll up another one. Shit, I'm enjoying this conversation. You know what I mean?
I hope you're doing all right. I hope the chat doing all right, man.
So, Root Words. Let's talk about this Civil War. Let's talk about this 1865, this 1861, this 1864 in some places. What about the Civil War, man? What's up with this?
I just believe it was a whole bunch of people that was Aboriginal and indigenous to this land at that war. That's just my opinion of it.
Right. Some type of niggas going against niggas.
I think a whole bunch of Europeans got on both people's sides and played the shit out that war. They played that war perfectly.
Yeah, I think they did too. I think they capitalized off of beef. You see what I'm saying? What's going on, Big Dog Philly OG?
What's good, my brother? Grand Rising. everyone. Much love and respect to you, my brother. Much love and respect to everybody in the chat, man. You know, I just came up to talk about the corruption of the government, man.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Some of
Right.
us don't want to accept how corrupt that shit is, but it's corrupt.
We got to talk about the corruption of the government, man. That's the main vessel that's indoctrinating the masses right now. That's who indoctrinating the masses right now. What's going on, Superman? Peace and
What's the word, baby?
shit, man. Everything
down here in Texas, man.
Shout out to Texas, man. Shout out to Texas in the building.
I'm working, man. I'm rehabbing a unit I just bought, man.
Man, that's what's up. That's what's up.
That's all.
Keep working, man. Keep working. Keep doing your thing, man. Shout out to you.
I'm playing with tools, man. It's just fun for me.
That's what's up.
I was checking out y'all boys' chat, man. I'm just in here kicking it.
All right, man. If you got a question on shit, question or a statement, man. I mean, turn up.
Well, my question is, we focusing on them pale skins, but they working for somebody because somebody enslaved them. That's who our real enemy is.
Boom. See, you know what they call that? Thinking outside of the box. So when we get back to these ancient Aboriginal cities and towns, they all ran by, we already know, niggas. These niggas ain't just stopped running shit. They using these little white people as proxies and pawns to this chess piece. This is when you get into the black nobility, which is the 3% that they say is running the world.
For sure.
Get into the black pope.
For sure. That's why I'm these pale skins, they just trying to survive. Because if they start telling on who they really working for, they lose their privilege.
Some of them spill the beans.
I know it, but they scared because they see us coming, so they want to jump ship and join the other side.
Yeah, the ones that spill the beans trying to jump over here with us.
Right.
They funky ass get the hell away. We don't want no parts of you. We know who you're working for. You working for the sellout niggas that sold us all out about 300 years ago. That's the sellout niggas. I can give you code names for them too. They disguise them up under different names right now. I can give you one big name that they call.
Oh yeah. I'm been on it. I just be watching from the sideline, man. I really ain't on social media or nothing. But there was just a heavy topic that I wanted to chime in on, man.
I appreciate that, bro. Oh, man, we try to make shit feel comfortable. You know, it's like the cuzzo. It's like it ain't like you talk to it. I mean, it's like you talking to cuzzo. So a nigga chilling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we relaxing. We smoking wood. We about to chop it up. Hell, you got something to add in? Shit, man, get shit.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man.
Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. I'm gonna drop the link one more time, man, just in case somebody wants to hop on. Not, man, we're gonna get ready to roll.
I don't know how to drop down or whatever.
I'll get you out of here. I got you, Brody.
Okay.
So I appreciate you for coming on too, guys. Appreciate you. Keep working, man. Make that thing look nice. Do what us Aboriginals always did. Masters, carpenters, masonries, and architects. You understand?
Man, for sure. My grandpa, they saying that they came out with prefab homes maybe 20 years ago. My grandpa was prefabbing homes, building them at his house, taking the pieces to where the final house is going to be over 70, 80 years ago.
That's crazy. So we've been on this shit. My mama, we've been on this shit. All right, bro. Take it easy, bro. Peace.
Yeah.
Shout out to my bro. Shout out to my boy, Superman. What's up, Rudy? You back with us?
Yeah, my fault about that.
That's all good, man. This was a dope bill, man. I really didn't have too much input on it, man. I just wanted to let them rock out because he was going through some shit I ain't never even heard. He was dropping some shit. He was spilling.
I got in here late though.
Yeah, that bill was very informative, y'all. I'm telling y'all, if y'all ain't catch it, go back and catch it. I didn't even really commentate and add in no commentary. I'm just listening, soaking it in. He was spilling the beans, man. He was spilling the beans
I gotta
on how
respect them on a
to.
lot of stuff. A lot of that crisis actor stuff on TV be having a lot of my black folks messed up in the head, and I be trying to tell them, look, man. And when I show them, like when I show them the definition of crisis actor, they look at me crazy though. Like, wow, thanks for that information though. A lot of people don't know that shit though. There's a lot of little weird shit you said right though. That white man was dropping game on there, bro.
Yeah,
I
he
say
really
Billy
was.
though.
Yeah, honky Billy, you know how they go. It's all good. The white man. The white man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Drop a fire emoji before we get out of here, man. We had a lit crowd, man. Like I said, y'all some of the smartest motherfuckers I've ever seen in the chat. Y'all be out here dropping the heat. Y'all be looking at y'all in the chat. Y'all be piggybacking off of the conversation at hand. So y'all be up on some of the shit that's even been said, man. So shout out to y'all, man. Y'all some of the smartest motherfuckers ever, man. Shout out to you, man. The Aborigines, man. You FBA brothers and sisters. Hey, man. Y'all, hey, we just be locked in together because we all cousins. We know it now. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. You feel what I'm saying?
I think that Civil War story is like weird and touchy though, because it showed them white folks that was here for like 500 to 1,000 years, and it showed us, but they confused the picture with the white people that been here a little bit, and the Europeans came over here. I think they helped us in the war. They, when the South and the North, the Dixies and the Masons,
right?
I think they manipulate them stories a little bit, and the Dixies was the Great Southern Aboriginals, and the Masons was the Northerners that was bringing in this new type of industry and this new type of way of living, because we was inventing a lot of stuff over here, and the Europeans were trying to take a hold of it. But the down south Dixies, they was loving their ways. And when you look at pictures of the old black folks or Aboriginals of this land post Civil War pictures, man, they look like Rome. So it's just, yeah, that Civil War is a great story to piggyback off of one day.
Yeah, it do look like Rome, man. And like I said, all roads leads to Rome, Georgia. You feel what I'm saying? So listen, man, which is the headquarters of Atlantis at one point in time. We'll get into that in another note. But yeah, man, the science is real, man. We breaking this shit down, man. We're gonna be a lot of the structures and a lot of this science that you've been seeing on a lot of these videos, Mind Unveiled, Michelle Gibson, John Levi, all these people I've been presenting over the last 60 days, 30, 40, 50, 60 days, man. We're going to sum all this shit up in one compact pay-per-view tomorrow. The American Gods, man. Make sure y'all be there. Purchase the pay-per-view. All the information is in the description box. Listen, man, it's going down, man. It's going to be one of the ones, man. We got my nigga Atanchinist Amaru American. What's up with it?
What's good?
Man, it's good with you, bro. I ain't seen you in a second, man. Hope everything is good. Peace and blessings to you and your family. Shout out to my nigga Atanchinist.
Salute, bro.
Got my earpiece in, couldn't hear nothing. I was like, what's going on?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, peace and blessings to you and your family, man. I ain't seen you in a minute. Hope all is well. What's going on with you, brother?
Yeah, it's good. I was just saying, if you, speaking of like wars and stuff, if you ever been to Cincinnati, there's a parking garage, and it was built over top of a fort. And that parking garage is like, it's right across the street from the Red Stadium, which is, the Red Stadium is like basically right by the river. So I'm looking, and I happen to see the plaque that's on the side of the parking garage. I'm reading it and stuff. It's a war that went on, but I can't remember the dates. It was like it was either 17 or 18 something, and it said it was like the war for the gateway to the west. And it was saying it was an Indian and American war basically.
Yeah, half of Cincinnati and I think Louisville right across the street from it. Half them places is called Fort something. Like when you get to a couple of them little like little areas, like I know y'all got downtown and Vine area. Y'all got a whole bunch of areas around there that's just called Fort such and such and Fort such and such. That's deep. You found it though. I can't wait to look into that shit. Good shit though, bro. And OH, brother.
Oh yeah. It's a bunch of hills here and a bunch of Indian names, and like like old buildings that look like they've been here for a long time. I'm like, it's a whole bunch of stuff here like in plain sight, and nobody just like looking into this.
If you look at Cincinnati's downtown area, there's something was great about Cincinnati. Cincinnati, probably my opinion of it, it was one of the greatest cities in Ohio back then because it just its location took you to the west. That was the only place to take you to the west when you came from the Appalachian Mountain. There ain't no other river. There ain't no other way to get to Indiana or get to the Mississippi River unless you go down the Ohio River. I don't know no other river that would.
Nigga said a giggity giggity on your ass, boy. Shout out to my nigga Root, boy. That nigga be dropping that science. Hey, we got 111 truth searcher in this motherfucker, man. What's going on, 11?
Man, what's good, man? What's popping with it, man? Y'all going in today? Okay, I see you, bro. Bro, your ass been on fire, nigga.
Yeah, we just come with that heat, man. Make sure all the vibes is right. Make sure we setting the tone.
So Houston, the origins of the gay scene and shit. I thought I caught right before I got that call.
Houston? No, I think they were saying Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Man, that was dope, bro. Like, they ass was hitting that shit on the head, bro. Detail, evidence, everything.
Salute, truth. And when you look at Cincinnati, I know it sounds weird as fuck. There ain't no other place in the world called Cincinnati, but there's a Caesar Cincinnatus. And he's the one that came up with divide and conquer.
Cincinnati ain't even the original name of the city.
Shit, what's the original name of that city then? I need to hear this.
It started with the L. If you look it up, I can't remember. It's something weird. I couldn't even pronounce it.
I gotta agree with you. Probably in English it wasn't Cincinnati, but in English that's just Cincinnati, bro. And there's a great history that go to that city, man. Just look up Caesar Cincinnatus. Most of these cities, I don't know how to say that, but when they be talking about Caesar St. Louis, Caesar Louis and King Louis, King Louis, man, that shit St. Louis and Louisiana and Louisville. You sit right across the street from Louisville. You know what I'm saying? So Cincinnati is right across the the river from Louisville. So I don't know. We got to start looking into this shit. Like when they say King Baltimore, nigga, there ain't no Baltimore in England. Even when they say England, that shit New England area. A lot of this shit is from over here though, bro. Just understand your city dope, bro. Better check out Cincinnati history. Without aggression.
Yeah, you got Lexington, Louisville, Columbus, and Indianapolis are not even that far from Cincinnati. They ain't there a straight shot.
Yeah, it's right across the bridge, bro. 20-minute ride across the bridge and shit. You in Kentucky and shit.
Yeah, they snatched Indiana, Terre Haute and Cincinnati's history away. I'm telling you, Cincinnati and Terre Haute have some history they don't want people to know about. Something like it just was like the center of the Midwest. Like it was in the middle of the Midwest, and it was a great part where everybody had to come to get from the Midwest.
Well, y'all ever see that? Y'all ever see that movie Patriot? And there's a lot of other movies and shit that they made about the Revolutionary War. One of the big prizes land that motherfuckers wanted to get their hands on was the Ohio Valley region. I digress.
Nah, the Ohio area, man, got some heat, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. You got Hopewell, you got Newark, you got a lot of shit going on in the Ohio, Mississippi Valley River area, especially when you go about 1500 BCE, which is about 2,500 years ago. You got the height of the Hopewell community down there. Very, very, very interesting to say.
I know people ain't gonna like to hear this, but that area you just named, where I'm from, man, we got the most concentrated of black folks too, or aboriginals that's black, however we put it. Like I didn't know that.
Hey, you know what, Rube?
So black is like there's so many every city. There's some weird shit going on up there in the Midwest, what they call Northwest of Mexico.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. That's one thing Root is not lying about the Midwest. Every major city, even the major small towns and shit, has a high concentration of our people and shit more than anywhere else. Everywhere else you go, they have to share that shit with a bunch of people from
A lot of people don't even know that.
places. But
My bad, bro. But yeah, like Ohio is just a
no, you
beautiful.
good, brother.
No, Ohio a beautiful place. Like Ohio itself is the indigenous words that was created and spoken by many of the Iroquois nation. A lot of people don't know, and the word Ohio means large and beautiful. Yeah, so like a BBW or something. You see what I'm saying? Big and beautiful. Goddamn, large and beautiful. You
Yeah,
understand?
she pay like she weigh too now. I'll pay like she weigh.
That nigga River is funny. But listen, that's literally what it means, though. That's a fact, though. You know what I'm saying? And you can find earliest use of the indigenous peoples calling that river Ohio going back to 1680, according to documentation. You see what I'm saying?
See, I'm not even en route. I'm not even from Cincinnati. I moved here like like a year ago. But where I'm from, it's like 2 hours north of here. That my whole city, it's a small town, but it used to be a swamp a long time ago. And whoever moved in, like cultivated or whatever, and turned it into a city and became what it became today.
What, you from around Gym City?
Nah, I'm from a place called Lima. They used to call Little
Okay, whoa, you
Chicago.
from way up north.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
from the
where my
Lima
man
Bean.
stay at in Lima, bro. I know exactly what you talking about at.
Oh yeah, you from the Lima Bean. That's a lot of great history, and y'all got some gangster. Y'all killed some of my niggas up there.
Damn, bro, we
Yeah, I got
online.
ran over
Come
by
on,
the
bro.
Detroit and shit. Yeah, I've been to the Lima a couple times. Yeah, that's a little wild city for real. It was.
But you know what though? We can't keep looking at this shit as separation. You know, they drew them imaginary lines. All these regions was just one. From north end, you had the north end and the south end, the west end and the east end.
And
A
some of
lot,
these cities.
a lot.
My fault. Go ahead, Truth. I thought you was done.
No, you good. I was just saying, you know, even today we got, you know, man, even when we looking over this, you know, we got to block out these imaginary lines and shit that they you know, implanted us since motherfucking grammar school and shit with these maps and shit. You know, man, a lot of these places was really connected with each other, like not even just in America, but other places too. But they like to draw these imaginary lines to make shit look separate and shit and give it another name, even though they talking about the same goddamn people and shit.
Yeah, Lima was a great ass city because it's like sort of towards it's like a port city, and it was Alfred when he said there was a war. There's a war up there that happened, the separation of Michigan and Ohio when Michigan said it ain't want to be Ohio no more. That's what you call really the McCoy and them wars where they say the McCoy and they put it to Kentucky with two white men families and shit killing each other, the Hatfields and McCoys. That wasn't down there in Kentucky. That was Ohio and Michigan fighting each other because Michigan separated from Ohio. And it happened in Lima. Yeah, that was some great history though. But yeah, Lima got some history in it.
This
The
the map.
Lima Bean, hell yeah.
This Ohio right here in the ancient map.
See that? That's what I'm talking about, AP. You feel me? You put that shit right on the head. No imaginary lines, even though they still trying to draw it up in there and shit.
No imaginary borders. It's not South Fay. And you got a place called Negrito, Ohio, back in the day. Negrito, Ohio. Interesting.
Who you think was the?
Bliss up to the tribe, man. How y'all doing, man? How y'all feeling?
Man,
Bliss up.
We got on
Salute, brother. Salute, brother.
What's going on, yo? See, big brother, yo, happy birthday too, brother. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it, man. Like everybody, like, boy, you don't even look your age. You know what I'm saying? Like, feel good to be 40. You know, I'm in the 40s. I'm in my 40s now. You know what I'm saying? So
it's like 40 the new 20, man.
Yo, you a Cancer, bro?
No, I'm a Leo.
Oh, okay. I just made 39 and shit on the 13th. That's a lot, bro.
Yeah, that's what's up, my man. Yeah, that's what's
black
up.
Black don't crack unless you smoke it, bro.
Yeah, you already know. Root, Root, like, oh no, don't do that shit. Nah, man, but yeah, Ohio, man, that's like a monumental piece when it comes to, you know, civilization as itself, as well as the Americas, man, because the formation of the rivers, the connection of the Great Lakes, the Mississippi, the Ohio, that's even the Cincinnati River, like my man was saying, he living in Cincy. You know what I'm saying? That's Los Santos. That's old school Los Santos back in the day, because ville only mean town. Your village is your town. You know what I'm saying? So the river systems is what brought upon the emergence of the surveying of lands. And our ancestors were great surveyors. So a lot of our ancestors were the one that surveyed these lands. And they later came in and learned that science and system from our ancestors, because just having a small band only means that you just have your little small village, like your town. Like when you look at Nick Chubb from Georgia, the running back, for the Cleveland Browns. Where is he from? He from Chubb Town. It would have been called Chubbville back in the day, because that's the word that they use when you go back to the historical perspective. Like where I grew up at, where my grandfather, Elliot Rios, pretty much set up shop and formed on his own accord in the 1800s. The area was called Ray City, but it was known as Nashville. And then where the railroad came through, where you had Highway 84, old Indian road and trail, where they built the railroad system prior to the Civil War, going down Highway 84. That area, when you get far enough inland, was called Homerville. It was called the Ville. Everybody knew the Ville was the town, just little small towns and pockets of a bigger civilization. So, I mean, y'all hitting it on the head, man. Much love, salute to you, Bap. I'm always here, man. I be in the back, man. I be working my swing shift, so I don't get a chance to, tap in as much as I want to, because I got to get enough rest. Sometimes I be working 12, 13, 14 hours. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. Yeah, that cyber shit had me all jacked up, but it's worth it.
Hey, I'd like to thank you, Lil Yoss, for that, because I couldn't explain my people. Like people really don't understand what I be saying. So I'd be like, look, I'm glad you said we were the surveyors of this land. And people really don't understand what that means. They don't really, that might go over their head. Like, we surveyed the swamps and turned the swamp into cities. Yeah, that's people ain't really understanding. We surveyed that land and made sure the waters didn't go too high so it'll flood the whole city over, and put different types of architecture and different type of mechanics with that shit. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, we was the surveyors of this land, like the foundations. Yeah, we're the Aboriginal surveyors of this shit. And that,
because with true
comes a lot of responsibilities
Root,
and masonry work. So you right though, bro.
Yeah.
I digress.
I ain't mean to cut you off, Root. I should have let you finish. But the reason why, like with our masonry work and skills, we knew that you can't just build something on swampland because it will sink. That's why a lot of the cities, the way that they were built, it had to go through a process, because you have to have dry land. You can't just build something on muggy, soggy soil, because most of that soil was tilling soil. So you needed enough area so that you could have your agri. That's why, like in the South, if you're from like the South, East Woodland regions, most states have what is called the agrorama. The agrorama is what's showing you how our ancestors back in the day would form and till certain aspects of land. Because even with these structures, any cataclysmic event that would happen, like the mud flood, if you build the land on swamp and you had an earthquake, what you think gonna happen? Because there's aquifers under that soil, and those aquifers are filled with crazy water. And when people know about these aquifers, what do they do to a lot of black towns? Why you think a lot of black towns didn't look like the structures you saw in most modern cities? Why you think they look like old towns? They call them old towns. Now they're vanishing towns, because they're tearing everything down. Because there's certain stuff you can't build on certain structures. Our ancestors knew that. If you're going to build a town, this is the only way that you can manifest this town to survive, is by building it this way. Because if you build too much, a cataclysmic event happened, a tornado came through, Like, man, we don't give our ancestors enough props, man. Y'all should pat yourself on the back for coming from some of the most advanced people on this planet, right here
Facts.
in America.
And I hate that story. People keep saying all our people come from down south. Man, that's a made-up story like Santa Claus, man. My people from fucking Ohio. They did not come from down south, walk from Mississippi to Ohio. Ain't nobody walk from Mississippi to motherfucking that Trail of Tears shit. Quit saying all of our people come from down
You
south.
know, I always tell people I got people
Right.
that
It was a
always been
migration.
in the
You're right.
South,
You're right, Ruth.
and y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can
My
hear you,
shit
Truth.
banging.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay, my
banging.
bad. I didn't want to cut none of y'all off. No, I was just saying, like I've been telling niggas from long. I got people that's always been in the South, and I got people that's always just been in the Midwest, nigga. It's just always been like that.
Yeah, they keep trying to take us out the Midwest, keep trying to take us out the North, keep trying to take us out the West. Man, nah, we always been there. I'll be hearing a lot of stories about that too. Motherfuckers like, well, all of our people landed in Compton in 1940. Like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. Them niggas been over there, man. So yeah, you right though, Truth, man. They be saying some bullshit, man.
Yeah, and Lil Yost, it's funny you say that about the swamp stuff, cause in my hometown, my mom's backyard, when it rains, it floods. And then my mom told me it used to be a swamp, like the whole city used to be a swamp. And the next door neighbor's backyard and the people behind them, all that flood back there. And my mom and them got to keep putting soil on top of it, and that's what you was talking about. You got to have a process of building the soil up so it's able to withstand the weight of the buildings.
Right. And the sand is what's going to settle, because you can always replant sod over top. But when it comes to swampland, like, people don't understand the dynamic of swamps and how Mother Nature knows how to replenish herself every year. Like, every year, that's something that my father always taught me growing up, that each year the earth replenishes itself. And a lot of times you can see it. And I remember, like, growing up, because we had man-made ponds. I seen alligators, like alligators so big they lay across a 2-lane road, and you just sit there and you got to wait for them to move, unless you just want to get out and mess with him to make him move. If he ain't quick on your feet, yeah, he snap your ass. That's it. But a lot of times you just sitting there like, man, I hope he moves soon. And 9 times out of 10, the alligator eventually move out the road. Even on dirt roads, it'd be the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So there's like hidden swamps within swamps, because you realize how the land was once structured, because the further south you go, especially like in the Florida regions, they call it the Everglades. They call it the Glades, the Glades regions. And a lot of from Alabama to Georgia to Mississippi, you have those glade regions, and even as far as north as New York, because the Ohio Valley, it was vast because of the whole river system. It has to meet at the heart, and where is the heart? Around the Midwest, because the further west you go, once you get into the Vegas region, it was a major metropolis for water preservation. Even in that desert region, they used to have a lot of water that flushed all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico, through a lot of those areas that people don't know about, because it went through underground aquifers. That's why I always tell people, like, whenever you're researching, how Root always talks about like the river systems. He does a good job when it comes to, like, giving us information on the rivers, because I learned a lot about the river systems just knowing a lot of the stuff that Root talked about, because in South Georgia, the Okefenokee runs into the Suwannee. And when you look at a lot of the wars that were fought, it wasn't fought for the river system down there, because that's swamp land. That's a swamp river. People scared of that black water because they call it the Mirror Lake. You look at that Mirror Lake and the alligator could come out and just bite your face. You got to look for the bubbles. See, we grew up, we knew whenever you fishing by a pond, you start seeing them bubbles pop up, back your ass the fuck up. Motherfucker, damn alligator. See, most people don't know that. You hear
I think
hissing
them was a
noises.
special. I think that was a special defense system or a special mechanism back in the days to put alligators around the land that is like
it was
sacred to nature. They'd be like, look, this place called Florida. There's some shit in Florida where it deals with the world. Like the water comes from up north, goes down there, goes through this little weird shit, and it separates the waters from the Atlantic Ocean, from the Caribbean Ocean. It's just whoever the fuck made that shit. Yeah, and I think they put alligators there to say, look, man, don't go over there, man. Just leave this shit natural. And what you was talking about, that river system, man, you said some deep shit because all the water comes from up north, like Canada. And then it gets held at the Great Lakes. And then the Small Dipper, which I can show y'all where the Small Dipper is at. It just means the add-up chambers of the river, which means the deepest level of that river that's going to transfer that body of river water to the next location. Then it goes to the Big Dipper, which is Cairo, Illinois, Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, and Louisville. It's a square where all the water goes in America. All the great rivers of America goes to the Big Dipper, which is a cup. And the bottom of the cup is the fucking Mississippi River, which is Memphis. But we'll get into that deeper science. Yeah, our ancestors, man.
Boy, root word.
They messed this up when they put them dams up.
Fire, nigga.
Boy, that's
hold on.
root.
Hold on. Root word going in over a smooth beat, bro. That shit is fire, nigga.
And back
Thanks a lot, y'all.
They messed this up with them, put them dams up and stuff like that too. And also the other thing that you were saying about how everybody didn't come from the South. I got people in my family that's always been up in Ohio, but my mom's they all from Georgia, West Georgia and Southeast Georgia. I got people in Colorado. I got people in dang near every state, so we all over. But particularly they all from Georgia though.
Yeah, that's a fact, bro. I got people that just always been in Illinois and Michigan. But like me personally, I'm from Mississippi. And my ties going to Alabama and Louisiana and Arkansas too and shit. That's why I say, man, the imaginary lines and shit kind of confused us in a way and shit because all this shit was just one.
And you knew it was one. And you knew it was one because when you got to that region, everything changed. Like when you get to like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, you see how everything changed. Especially when you get to that Georgia line, if you're down 95, you can smell it. You smell that skunk. Like damn, like this on some ancient shit because you can smell it. You can smell the sinew. You can smell the sinew riding down 95. But by the time you get to Florida, you start smelling that Atlantic coast, the air change, and it's kind of almost hard for you to breathe because your body has to acclimatize real quick to that ocean meeting fresh water. And once your body acclimatized to it, you good to go. Your lungs puff up a little more, got your chest out, looking like you're ready to fight. Yeah, you already know. You a Floridian now.
That ocean is
in the Floridian.
Oh God. Hey, that's one thing I
it's
do
the same
like
in the
about
Gulf.
myself, man. I can adjust to any environment in America, no matter if it's the West Coast, the Midwest, the South, the East. Like I never have issues like other people have. Like when they go to certain places, they be having like allergies and all types of other shit. Like I don't have those issues. But damn, bro, you had to put the rock band music behind my shit. What? It's because I'm light skinned? That's what y'all.
111 truth. He calling you out.
He
called me a white boy.
Alabama move. Yo, what's good?
Alabama move.
Alabama move on here.
My young brothers from other mothers. Y'all been laying it down, and it's not only truth that's being spread by y'all today. Is it really a secret, AP? I know you're being provocative with the title, But is it a secret they intend to try to keep putting us under British rule? As long as we speak the English language, what are we saying by default? You know?
They trying to keep us away from Egypt, because when you look at the story of Egypt, it says Egypt is in the garden of Eden, and Cairo sits over Memphis, Tennessee, that sits on a river, and then they say there's 7 other adjoining rivers that meet the Nile River or whatever they call it, and the only place you can fit that shit is in America, because Cairo, Illinois sits right over Memphis, and there's like 6 to 7 rivers that meet up with might be like 12 rivers really that meet up with the Mississippi River, and it's like a pipeline that flushes all the water out to my opinion of it, it flushes all the water out to the Gulf of Mexico, and like Lil Yosei was saying that we have aquifers and everything underground that soaks that water back right up north, and Aboriginal Power was saying somehow it freezes or go back up north to its high point, freezes and go back to a cycle. It's just a cycle of hot water, cold water. And we know when you in the hospital,
replenishing.
Or when they like,
yep.
Or
no,
when
go
they
ahead.
like
I ain't
making,
cut you off, Root.
when they making shit healthy, you in the cold. Like cold kill a whole bunch of diseases and all that shit. So that's why the water go back up north and get froze to kill all that shit. But I digress.
And that's what my father was talking about when he told me at a young age back in the 80s when I was growing up. He was showing me the ditch, because we have like in Georgia and well in South Georgia, we have like deep ditches. Like most people don't have these type of ditches. Like, you know, like in the North, the way everything is mapped out, all the water goes into like the city sewers. And you already know that city sewer system is all jacked up, because before they had the lead piping, which was happening in Flint, Michigan, because back in the day they used to use red wood for piping, because red wood was natural. It didn't erode or do any of the things that you think it would do, because when they pulled them big ass pipes out, they still look natural, even in the water. Like look at a lot of ship wreckage, like wood, something that's natural to the land. But then when you look at a lot of the piping they use today, it creates lead, and then the stuff that they're pumping into the water to clean it, that's the key that a lot of people are not paying attention to. Because anytime someone is fracking in your neighborhood, guess what happens? If you have a river system or a water system, that fracking gets into the water. When you look at the natural fluoride in a lot of these aquifers, especially like down south, you will notice that a lot of our families had water that had a sulfur base to it. It smelled like egg. Because my uncle that lived across the street from me, his water was sulfur based, but yet grandma water on this side from the well system was not sulfur based. It had more alkaline. So they do be putting chemicals in our water on purpose. They know what the fuck they doing, man. That's why I said, man, water gonna be the last natural resource that gets tampered with, and that's really gonna fuck us up if we don't pay attention and help protect this goddamn land. Keep these motherfuckers from trying to start a war on this territory. All that nuclear
You know,
shit.
and I'm listening to you young brothers now. There's many things that we should not be discussing in public. I appreciate everything that I'm hearing you young brothers said. It gives me pride, to be honest with you. And scripturally they say pride goeth before the fall. But if we're going to be talking about moving strategically, which obviously means we're going to sit on our tongue and actually start laying claims. Now, here's my suggestion. You don't have to follow me because I'm an old lion, long in the tooth, okay? But every pride only allows one alpha. You know that, right? Within each of your families, I presume that all of you probably already are in default, are the elder, and when I'm using elder, I'm talking about tracing your family track. And my suggestion is find that patch of dirt where an elder ancestor got displaced. I don't care how it was done. Like the title of this program is supposedly the secret agenda of bringing us once again back under British rule, which would presume we haven't been under it. That's for another discussion maybe in the future. But when you can find an X marks the spot on a deed transaction that was fraudulent, when you can find, even if it was sold, which is ironic if we start really dealing with our cultural history as a matriarchal system, there is no one authorized to sell something without the women of the clan or the family being in agreement. When you have all of these treaties supposedly authorized by male heads, which were possibly sellouts and turncoats, any of those operational documents are fraudulent. Now, if we can come to one accord on that, I don't think we should be quibbling and arguing over what's the title of the document, whether it's a deed, a land patent, a mortgage. That's no different than arguing over if we're N-words, Negro, black, or colored. Okay? It's not an issue of what it's labeled as. The issue is, what is it actually doing? It is stealing land that we inherit by the fact that we sprung from the land. What was the last thing you said, AP? I don't want to take away your quote. Where you got that from? The Youngblood said that they threw us as seeds, and maybe it was a Tonkinist one who said it. They threw us as seeds, trying to suppress us in the ground.
Yeah,
that was OG Hawk. That was
Big Brother Hawk School. He said they try to bury us in the dirt, not knowing that we were seeds.
Okay, now you want to find that patch of dirt? Now this is what I'm suggesting. I'm not challenging you, young brothers. I'm just saying. My generation, particularly the ones that were tagged the boomers, that was the first marketing campaign of advertising in this corrupt, criminal, American capitalistic system. They tagged us as a demographic called the baby boomers because of the birth explosion after World War II. They have then now summarily, up to now, claimed your Generation Z or whatever crap that's going on now. Millennials, Generation X, Lost Generation, whatever.
Yeah, they called y'all baby boomers because y'all was the sellouts.
Okay, that's not necessary, brother. It's not about us ragging on each other. I'm just being realistic. I was being realistic. Whatever generation group there is gives birth to the following generation. Now, because we were misled in whatever fashion, through integration, segregation, and the hellhole of Jim Crow that brought it into World War II, our patch of dirt we've been displaced from. That's the only thing I'm suggesting for each of you young brothers. Find that patch of dirt and become that seed that AP just quoted as gumming from the soil. That's my suggestion, and I yield.
Oh, I'm in.
I love when you talk about alpha. When y'all talk about alpha, it seems like that's what the Anunnaki. He brought up a great under. Oh my God, thank you. That's what we talk about the Anunnaki and the Nephilim. See, all the alphas of the families in our generations and shit before the British rule. This is pre-British rule. The alphas in your family went to Anunnaki land, which is somewhere in the Midwest. Went to Nephilim land, which is like a college or something for people that knew that was bigger than everybody. That's all that was the alphas getting together like they call football today, basketball today, the fraternal order of police, you know what I'm saying? The Navy, the Marines. See, before the English people came in and took over the Nephilims and the Anunnaki, the alphas of this land, and brought their daughters of the revolution in to suck their Peters off in high school on up. This is going on every high school. They got a whole bunch of European daughters out there, daughters of revolution out there ready to suck the Nephilim's penis, and this is just how it happens. And in college, they surround all of our alpha males. But I'm just going back in the day. Alpha is titles of greatness. Like we had alpha mothers, which means if you had like 15 kids, you was the alpha mother. You was that's why all of our mothers had them golds around their neck. And I hate when these fucking fez wearers saying that the fez is a hairdress. No, that's women's hair. That thing, like it was the alpha was a woman that had a title, and then she gave her alpha male to the Nephilims or to the Anunnaki, and they was like, okay, yeah, this dude is a big guy. This dude is a giant. But I'm just trying to say we got to start opening up our minds that we did have a alpha class of people that went to school like they do today. I digress.
Yeah, that's crazy because my great grandmother had 15 kids, and then one of them was my grandfather, who got with my grandma and had my mom, and my mom's mom, she had 10 kids. So, and it's weird because all the dudes moved up north with everybody else too. So I can see what you're saying.
All of our grandmas, see, it was a different type of nature. That's why they attack our women and want them under the Husbandry Act. Because as soon as the mothers, the greatest things of this land, and the grandmothers and the great-grandmothers and the aunties and the future mothers, which is the sisters or the daughters, you know what I'm saying? They put them under a Husbandry Act, so that naturally knock them out of lineage. That knock them out of their stuff, like Alabama who said. But all of our grandmothers and grandparents had over like at least 8 to 9 kids, because that's what nature does. Ain't nothing wrong with having sex. Until you hear it from a European, like Alabama was saying, British way. Oh, you're a whore, you're a whore, you're a whore, you're a whore. No, you ain't supposed to have sex once, you ain't supposed to have sex twice. See, because we had an alpha matriarch that said, quit talking about us women, that's what we do. See, there's no matriarch that can stand up for themselves in this European system or in this British system. It's all males talking about the females. And then they'll get a whole bunch of daughters called the feminists. They'll just straight kick the mothers and grandmas out of having a tongue. And see, that was our power point. That was one of our powers back then. Even in the Bible said there was a land where people treated the women great. That's what the matriarch was, let your mother and your grandmother have the word and damn near everything. And that's really alphaism right there. It ain't the male. But I digress.
Yeah, them Europeans used to treat their women bad. And we used to do the total opposite. It's two opposites. And they came over.
That's what the last war started over. The European daughters was over here, bro. Well, how I get taught the story from Moors. The Haroons is the Harlems. They was over here getting treated good by niggas. Niggas was Othelloing the hell out of them. But they European daughters. So their lineage goes to Europe, and they wanted their European sons over here. That's how our country got took over. A whole bunch of niggas getting their Peter sucked.
Let me say this before we get out of here. I appreciate everybody coming out of here and coming in to the build. This was a dope live stream. I appreciate y'all building and having this conversation. I just want to let it flow. Y'all was flowing. We got to get ready to get out of here, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to all the American Aborigines, the American Indians, the voice of the Aborigines is here. Big Al, man. Y'all know the vibes, man. Shout out to Root Words, Tachinas, Amarukan, Alabama, and my big brother, Lil Yos, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Before y'all get out of here, make sure y'all smash that like button, thumb up the video, share the live stream.
AP, Copper Grizzly. One more commercial. American Gods. 8/7/2022. Bigger than Pacquiao. Bigger than Floyd, Money, Mayweather. Drop that cash. Pay-per-view. Hit the like. Subscribe to the channel. Get up off your nappy black ass. And I yield.
Shout out to my brother Alabama.
Hey, Bap, I got one more thing to say too, man. Just to piggyback off of what you was just saying. I ain't gonna be long-winded, but what I want everybody in the chat to understand is that, like what Alabama was talking about, as far as like finding that patch of dirt and being the seed that's already planted. Our subconscious just ain't released the water yet for it to grow. So what I want y'all to understand is this right here. Throughout history or his story, relationships and human emotion are the key ingredients to a lot of cataclysmic events that happened. So what y'all got to understand is that a lot of that destruction started around 1861 going into 1862. And AP, if you don't mind, if we get out of here, let them know a lot of people died in 1865, and I digress, my brother.
A lot of niggas died in 1865. Let's take a 60-second break, man, just to memorialize some of the ancestors that passed in 1865. Let's go.
Niggas died in 1865. Yeah.
man. All I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
On the track. A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, how I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. And being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guard to the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. This Trey Ali, man. 1865. A lot of niggas died in 1865. You understand me? They put that white man on. Now you begging, now you thinking you from Africa, that's that white man's home. See, listen to him. He gave y'all some gems in every song, man. I gotta listen very clear. Man, shout out to my brother Yos, man. I appreciate you for coming on, brother. It's nothing but love. Shout out to Atanchinus Amaru. You got something to say before we get out of here, brother?
Yeah, you did a build on that, how they try to make us seem like we was from Africa the other day.
Yeah, yeah, that was a dope one too. That was a dope build. Appreciate you. Shout out to my brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me up, bro. Fire Bill, man. Hit the like, man. It's great when we see all of us brothers with little different mentalities come together, man. And man, I love this. Thank you, Aboriginal Power, man. Young OG, man. Lil y'all say salute. Out of Autonomous One salute to the chat salute. Thank you, bro. Hit the like.
You already know Root Words. Fuck with Root Words. He a real one. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to real one. Shout out to my brother Yo. Shout out to everybody in the building. Can I get everybody to flood the chat out with some fire emojis before we get out of here? Can we get the chat flooded out with some fire emojis before we get out of here? Can we get it flooded one time? Can we get it flooded one time before we get out of here, man? Shout out to all the American Aborigines in the building, man. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, man. I'm glad y'all came in and supported the channel. Make sure y'all get the pay-per-view, man. Y'all don't want to slack on that. Y'all gonna want to get that pay-per-view. Make sure y'all get that. Support the channel. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines. All of them. Make sure y'all be safe. Make sure you be aware. Make sure you stay vigilant. Make sure you stay dangerous. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, and we out. Peace.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me hear. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all in my blood, all in my veins. They started with perky, now that hair by numb is veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I gloss too, we shouldn't